Chapter 3540. Hall Master Lin, don't worry. We'll talk to the Palace Master about this. When the time comes, the Langistar will defend together. Lin Xian, the palace head, then said, Don't worry. I've already said that since this matter started because of me, I will take responsibility. When the time comes, you just need to help from the side. What? Meng Meng and Mu Bai were stunned. They thought that Lin Xian said that just to anger the third hall. But now, it seemed that he really wanted to take action. If it was before, they wouldn't believe it. But this time, they followed Lin Xian and experienced so many things. They even saw 5 minor saints and a group of saints being played around by him. They knew that Lin Xian might really have such ability. Well, there's no time to lose. I'll talk to the palace master first. Mu Bai left and Meng Meng continued to stay in the 8th hall. Kid, you said you have a way. What is it? The Crimson Dragon asked after they returned. Of course, it's to set up a formation and add the flame in my hand. Formation and flame? Kid, you're not bragging, are you? You can't beat me in terms of formation. I can't even think of a formation to fight against those people. Also, what's the flame you're talking about? 9 suns divine flame? But you're fiery, I can't fight against so many saints. Ruffian Dragon, a scholar who has been away for 3 days, must be looked at with new eyes. I am no longer the same person as before. Lin Xian smiled. He waved his hand, took out the hull, and released a trace of flame. The Crimson Dragon was shocked and quickly retreated. Oh my God, what kind of flame is this? He felt a huge threat. Although he had just broken through, he was already a first-layer saint. With the Dragon Clan's ability and the power of his bloodline, he could fight against those who were stronger than him. But in the face of this flame, he couldn't resist at all. Do you believe me now? This is called the Universe, Starry Sky Flame. I got it in another world. Even minor saints don't dare to fight against this flame. If there are enough of it, it won't be a problem to burn a minor saint to death. I have a lot of such flames now. Wow, it's so fierce. The Crimson Dragon swallowed its saliva. He asked, What about the array formation? What kind of array formation do you plan to use? Could it be that you've also found an ancient array formation outside? The Dark Rainbow Divine Dragon was very confused. As an expert in array formations, most of Lin Xian's array formations had been taught by him. Could it be that after not seeing him for a few days, this kid's attainments in array formations had already surpassed his? As for the formation, I'll have to ask him. Black Mountain, was what you said just now true? Who was Black Mountain? What the hell? The Crimson Dragon was stunned and frowned. In the next moment, he saw a wisp of black smoke fly out from the pendant on Lin Xian's neck and transform into a hazy figure. He was extremely shocked. There was something here. What terrifying demonic energy! When he felt the aura of the other party, he was greatly surprised. Hey, Shan said, Of course, you still don't believe me? As he spoke, he looked at the Crimson Dragon. What a terrifying bloodline of the Way of the Dragon! He was also extremely surprised by the aura and bloodline of the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon jumped over and pointed at the black figure. Kid, what is this? Lin Xian briefly explained his previous experience. The Crimson Dragon was extremely shocked. You're saying that he's the remnant soul of a supreme sage? Immediately, he sucked in a cold breath. He knew that supreme sages were extremely powerful. They were only one step away from becoming great emperors. They were existences at the peak of the sage realm. Although such a remnant soul might not be able to exert much of its strength, the experience and the array formation in his hands were definitely beyond imagination. No wonder Lin Xian was so confident. It turned out that he had such a remnant soul in his hands. The Crimson Dragon's eyes lit up. In that case, the array formation in his hands was extremely exquisite. Ha ha ha, Ben Huang is rich. He was very excited. Black Mountain said, Little Red, I didn't promise to teach you array formations. You're Little Red. Your whole family is Little Red. The Crimson Dragon was so angry that his face turned red. You have to call me the Great Dragon God Sage. What the hell is Little Red? All right, you two stop fooling around. Let's settle the array formation first. Also, Black Mountain, don't underestimate this guy. Although Rusalong is usually unreliable, he's very reliable when it comes to array formations. Lin Xian changed the topic and asked, "What array formation are you talking about?" "Have you heard of the saint-slaying array?" Black Mountain said mysteriously. Lin Xian was stunned. The Crimson Dragon, indeed, jumped out. "Damn! What kind of array formation do you know?" "You know!" Lin Xian was shocked. The Crimson Dragon said, "How can I not know? It's too famous." This was an array formation from tens of thousands of years ago. It was a famous killing array among the ancient arrays. It was rumored that someone used this array formation to kill many sages. That battle was really earth-shattering. Thousands of worlds were scared silly. The dark red divine dragon told Lin Xian about the legend he knew. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air after hearing it. It turned out that there was a sage in ancient times. For some unknown reason, he had provoked many enemies, and he had obtained the saint-slaying array. He had spent 500 years to set up the holy slaying formation to lure all of his enemies here. Over the years, his enemies had offended many big sections. Therefore, the sages were everywhere. Basically, they could kill him with a casual attack. But in that battle, the 10 great sects came. Countless sages were killed by the saint-slaying array. The 10 great sects declined. One could imagine how terrifying an array formation was to be able to kill the sages of the 10 great sects. Lin Xian gasped after hearing it. However, he frowned. According to the rumors, the other party used 500 years. How can we have so much time? Kid, don't worry. According to the rumors, the 10 great sects came out in full force. That's why they used 500 years to set up the array formation. Now, we're only facing the 6 great sects, and only a part of the 6 great sects. So, the situation is much better than before. With Lil, Red, and me, 2 array formation experts, we can definitely speed up a lot. Besides, don't you still have the Starry Fire? If you integrate the Starry Fire into the Saint-Slaying array, its power will increase a lot. Basically, we can complete a simple Saint-Slaying array in 3 months. Although it can't compare to the 500-year-old one, it should be enough to kill those people. Next, Black Mountain and the Crimson Dragon began to set up the array formation. Lin Xian provided the Starry Fire. As for the various materials needed to set up the array formation, they were provided by the Langia Star. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. The Saint-Slaying array was set up. Outside, those people were moving again. They had calmed the fire in their backyard and were ready to attack the Langia Star. Chapter 3541. The moment the formation was formed, all the sages on the Langia Star were stunned. They stood up one after another and looked around in bewilderment. What's going on? Why do I feel a terrifying power? Me too. These people were extremely frightened. Could it be that the enemy had attacked? The palace lord was also alarmed, but soon Lin Xian sent them a message. Don't panic. This is the array I set up. What? This is an array. And it was set up by Lin Xian. They were stunned. That's right. This is the array I set up. It will definitely help us withstand this attack. Don't panic. That's great. The people around all breathed a sigh of relief. The palace lord of the Langia Star also smiled. With such an amazing array, they were absolutely safe this time. The people of the third palace were really stunned. How was this possible? How could the enemy have such a terrifying array? To be honest, when Lin Xian said that he would be responsible, the people of the third palace were disdainful. They wanted to see how the other party would embarrass himself. When the other party was helpless, they would stand up and join forces with the other elders to put pressure on the other party. In this way, the other party would definitely die. But now they found that they were wrong. They had underestimated the other party. The other party had really set up such a terrifying array. And it was in 3 months' time. It was simply unbelievable. Not good, they're attacking. Someone sent the message, and the Langya Star Palace was immediately on guard. The palace lord of the Langya Palace said, "Everyone, listen up. Follow me to resist the enemy." At this moment, the entire 12 palaces of the Langya Star moved. They gathered their forces and prepared to fight together. Lin Xian also led the people of the 8th palace and rose into the sky, standing above the clouds. At the same time, on the ground below where the 12 palaces were located, there were arrays flashing. Of course, there was one place except for the 3rd palace. There was also an array there, but it was an array native to the Langya Star. There was no trace of the Zhusheng array, because Lin Xian did not set it up there at all. The people of the 3rd palace naturally also found this palace. They were a little flustered. The leader of the 3rd hall stood up and shouted coldly, "What are you panicking for? Could it be that your formation is better than ours? Don't forget, our 3rd point has a long history, and our powers are ranked among the top 3 among the 12 palaces. Our array formations, how could that kid compare to it?" Hearing the hall master's words, the people on the 3rd point heaved a sigh of relief. In the next moment, they didn't have time to think about anything else because the enemy had arrived. In the sky, the dense and terrifying power of heaven and earth surged, and a terrifying desolation aura filled the air. Countless saints from the Vermilion Bird Palace, 8 Desolation Palace, and the rest of the 6 major sects had arrived. This time, they were all led by a small saint. That aura was truly earth-shattering. In the sky, countless large cracks spread out. On the Langya Star, formations were activated. One after another, formations flickered to resist the saint aura. However, it was useless. Soon, those formations were torn apart, and the 6 major sects descended on the Langya Star. People of the Langya Star, listen up. Hand over Lin Xian, and I'll spare your lives. His loud and clear voice reverberated throughout the world. Everyone's scalp went numb when they heard it. "Humph, you're really haunting me. How dare you come here to capture me? Today, none of you will be able to leave." Lin Xian stood above the clouds, looking up at the starry sky. His voice was filled with biting, cold-killing intent. "Kid, you're really here." Countless gazes were fixed on Lin Xian. Of course, there were also some who looked in another direction. The person standing there was the Langya Palace Lord. The Langya Palace Lord said loudly, "Lin Xian's intentions were the intentions of the Langya Star. Fellow Taoists, if you're here to ask for him, then go back. If you want to use force, then the Langya Star has never been afraid of anyone. Stubbornly stubborn, the end of the Langya Star has arrived. Today, we'll make the Langya Star submit completely." The Vermilion Bird Palace Lord said coldly. The 8 Desolation Palace Lord also shouted coldly, "Everyone listen up. Capture Lin Xian. Anyone who dares to stop them will be killed without mercy." Their voices were like thunder. Those people in the sky were about to take action. The Langya Palace Lord also shouted coldly. The Langya Star and the 12 palaces all took action at this moment. Countless arrays intertwined. Between heaven and earth, terrifying energy roared. A great battle broke out. The 6 great sects, led by the Vermilion Bird Palace, were very powerful. When they joined forces, the arrays of the Langya Star were no match for them. Therefore, the people of the Langya Star were forced to retreat. Their faces were extremely ugly. "Humph, stupid idiot. Do you think that the Langya Star can fight against the alliance of the 6 great sects? You're really courting death." The people of the 6 great sects sneered. The feeling of breaking through bamboo was really too good. Next, they would capture Lin Xian and obtain the great emperor's inheritance. Moreover, Lin Xian had the great dragon sword spirit and the 9 yang divine body. All of these secrets would belong to the 6 great sections. Boom! Just when they thought that they could break through the blockade of the Langistar and capture Lin Xian, the entire Langistar suddenly trembled. Then, countless arrays lit up again. This array was based on the 12 palaces and covered the entire world, completely enveloping everyone. What's going on? There was an array, and it didn't look ordinary. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace and the 8-Wind Palace were stunned at first. Then they sneered. So what? No matter how strong the array was, it couldn't stop them. Kill! They quickly rushed over. In the 8th Palace, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He Shan, you can take action. As soon as he finished speaking, He Shan took action. The Crimson Dragon was also at the side, controlling the array. Suddenly, the Vermilion Saint array was activated. The terrifying thing was that the murderous aura combined with the power of heaven and earth roared together. In an instant, the saints who rushed over were hit. Their bodies were split open, and their screams resounded through heaven and earth. Damn it, this array is too powerful. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace and the 8-Wind Palace were stunned. They didn't expect the other party's array to be so powerful. Let's join forces and go to hell together. Orders were given one after another. Suddenly, countless saints joined forces. Their saint domains were connected as the terrifying laws of heaven and earth danced in the air. Together, they resisted the terrifying killing array. Boom! 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 But they still couldn't resist. This was the saint-slaying array, an extremely terrifying killing array in the ancient era. How could these people resist the power that was erupting at this moment? Sure enough, it didn't take long for their joint forces to be broken through again. Another sage had fallen. Damn it, the array was too strong. Looking at the bodies that were split open and pierced, the crowd screamed again. Saint artifacts. Quickly use the saint artifacts. Boom! Boom! Between heaven and earth, a terrifying light shone, illuminating the surroundings. Chapter 3542. In the sky, the laws danced and energy surged. It was a scene of apocalypse. Kill! The battle was unusually intense. Some minor saints had arrived and stared at Lin Xian. Kid, you're going to die today. What a big mouth. You 5 minor saints didn't even manage to kill me. How dare you talk so big now? Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue? 5 minor saints had arrived. Hearing this, the minor saints of Vermilion Bird Palace and 8-Wind Palace changed their faces instantly. Damn it, it's really you. They gritted their teeth in anger. Previously, when they were refining gold, 5 minor saints led more than 30 saints to chase after the other party. However, they didn't even see the other party's figure, and more than 20 saints were killed by the other party. They were in such a sorry state that they were ridiculed by the world. Now that the other party mentioned this matter, it really drove them crazy. Damn it! The minor saint roared and shot out a terrifying ray of light. The terrifying saint aura spread out between heaven and earth. Buzz! Lin Xian dodged. The saint-slaying formation rushed out. The sky was filled with starry fire, forming a huge fireball that rushed forward. In an instant, a huge battle broke out. Kill him! We must capture this kid. The other saints also rushed over, gritting their teeth. They had suffered too many losses in the other party's hands. Lin Xian sneered. A bunch of shameless old farts. If you have the ability, fight one-on-one with me. I'll slap you to death. He stood in the formation without fear. On the other hand, the other party was shouting in anger. A young junior actually dared to challenge them one-on-one. They were really pissed off. Some of them couldn't help but want to go up, but they were stopped by the elders. Don't be impulsive. Don't fall into his trap. We have such a huge advantage now. How can we fight him one-on-one? Yes, don't let this kid provoke us. We must destroy them. Kid, you don't need to provoke us. You'll cry later. These people sneered and attacked crazily. Lin Xian snorted. So what if you have more people? Today, I'll let you know what despair is. At this point, he ordered Black Mountain to attack again, and the array formation continued to rumble. The attacks of those minor saints were all blocked by the void flame. Lin Xian stood inside the flame and watched this scene. He sneered, "Are minor saints that powerful? If you have the ability, come and kill me." Damn it. Those little saints were furious. They were so strong, but they couldn't kill the other party. These flames were too terrifying. It was at this moment that one of the laughing saints roared furiously. These people split into several groups and charged towards the 12 palaces. At that moment, the 12 palaces were all under fierce attacks. The people from the 12 palaces of Langistar were also fighting back in a frenzy. The battle was extremely tragic. There was one place that was exceptionally tragic, and that was the third palace. The people of the third palace were originally full of confidence. They believed that they had a long history and were powerful, so they did not care. But when they really started fighting, they realized that they were wrong. This time, the 6 great sects had sent too many experts. Under their joint attacks, their formation kept shaking. It couldn't withstand the attacks at all. Cracks had appeared in many places, and they would soon be damaged. And the people of the third palace were falling one after another. There was a loud boom. The formation cracked, and countless people charged in. Not good. We can't hold on. Palace Master, what should we do? The people of the third palace retreated frantically and screamed, "Block it! Damn it! Block it for me! Activate the formation!" The elders of the third palace roared crazily. The palace master also roared nonstop and began to control the formation. But it was impossible. Their formation couldn't withstand the attacks of so many saints. There were even sacred weapons that were rumbling between heaven and earth. How could it be possible? The formation was broken in an instant. The people of the third palace went crazy. They saw that the other palaces were not broken and could withstand it. They thought that they could do it too. But they didn't know that it was the power of the saint-slaying formation. It was not something that their formation could compare to. Damn it, we were tricked. That kid's formation is amazing. It's beyond our formation. At this moment, they finally understood. They were all furious. This kid is obviously tricking us. He didn't even set up a formation for us. Yes, that's right. It's too abominable. These people cursed. They were so angry that they were about to vomit blood. This scene was ironic because the people of the third palace had mocked Lin Xian. They thought that it was impossible for Lin Xian to set up such a formation. Now that they were attacked, they started to blame Lin Xian. How despicable! But it was useless to complain now. The battle was too intense. No one gave them time to complain. The people of the third palace screamed, "Stop! You can't attack us. We are the third palace. There is no Lin Xian here. If you want to kill Lin Xian, go to the 8th palace. That's his territory." What third palace or 8th palace? All of you from the Langya, Star, deserve to die. The people of the 6 major sects were in a killing frenzy. They didn't care about the internal conflicts. As long as it was someone from this world, they would kill them. It's over. The people of the third palace were in despair. What else could they say? This was a world-level war. They were here to destroy this world. Now, they were asking them to stop. What kind of joke was this? Were they out of their minds? Holy Slaying Array, rise! Black Mountain controlled the array. The Holy Slaying Array kept shining. Countless laws danced on the ground, and heaven and earth rumbled. They formed huge swords one after another. There were a total of 11 swords with the 11 palaces as the foundation. Apart from the third palace, the other 11 palaces were all enveloped by a huge sword. The power of the huge sword was too terrifying. In addition, it was surrounded by the starry sky flames, increasing its power even more. Kill! With a furious roar, the 11 huge swords began to descend. Boom! The experts and saints of the 6 major sects were shrouded by the sword chi and were torn apart. Some were even pierced through. Ah, what kind of array is this? Run! With one strike, the people of the 6 major sects were defeated. They couldn't block such sword chi at all. This was a sword chi that could kill a saint. The 11 sword chi moved between heaven and earth. The experts of the 6 major sects fell like meteorites. At this moment, there were wails and howls. At this moment, everyone was stunned, whether it was the people of the 6 major sects or the people of the Langistar. How could there be such a terrifying array in this world? Also, the flames were too terrifying. The saints were immediately ignited when they touched them. There was no way to extinguish them. That sword aura was also incomparably powerful. It was capable of cleaving a sage in half with a single sword strike. After the people of the Langistar recovered from their shock, they were ecstatic. Great! This was the array formation set up by Lin Xian. They definitely had hope this time. The Langi Palace's palace master and elders all smiled. It seemed that supporting Lin Xian was the right choice. Chapter 3543. The people of the 6 major sects went crazy. The power of the formation was even more terrifying than before. They couldn't believe it. Run! Leave this place as soon as possible. We were too careless. We didn't expect them to have such a trump card. For a moment, everyone retreated. Ha! Don't you think it's too late to leave now? Lin Xian laughed. Today, this place will be your graveyard. Damn it! We can't escape. This space is sealed. We can't open it. There are terrifying sword chi everywhere. Screams rang out one after another. The people of the 6 major sects found that they were really trapped in this world. They couldn't open it at all. Let me do it. A minor saint roared and waved his long fist. It was like 100,000 meteors rumbling between heaven and earth. The sky and the earth cracked, but they couldn't break it at all. Instead, they attracted a sword chi. With a boom, he was hit by the sword chi. 2 more sword chi slashed at him. Get lost. The minor saint fought with the sword chi. Boom! In the end, 2 more sword chi came and sent the minor saint flying. The minor saint's body was split in half. Everyone's scalp went numb. Even a minor saint couldn't defeat the sword chi? What should they do? For a moment, everyone was incomparably terrified. Use the sacred weapon. Another minor saint with Saint Chi blotted out the sky and earth. It was a sacred sword that emitted incomparable light. Its power was not weaker than the divine sword of piercing sky. Therefore, when the two collided, the divine sword of piercing sky kept trembling. The others regained their confidence. Great! A minor saint with a sacred weapon should be able to resist the sword chi. But soon, they found that the minor saint was also screaming because the monstrous starry flame had surrounded him. The minor saint was powerful and had a sacred weapon. But this time there were too many flames. Except for the flames needed to refine the black earth, Lin Xian basically didn't hold back the rest. He used all of them this time, because he knew that this battle was related to his life and the life and death of Langistar. He didn't dare to be careless. The minor saint was extremely miserable under the starry flame that blotted out the sky. The people of the 6 major sects swallowed their saliva. It was over. The minor saint couldn't resist it. They were really desperate. Could it be that they were wrong? They shouldn't have come to kill him. At this moment, they were filled with regret. Run! Break out of the encirclement! A minor saint roared crazily. There were minor saints in each of the 6 major sections. Now that 2 of them were injured, the rest didn't dare to fight head-on. They could only dodge with all their might. Their eyes were all red, because once this peerless array formation was activated, saints would fall at every moment. That place didn't have a peerless array formation, nor did it have flames. Suddenly they exclaimed. They discovered that there was a place on the Langistar that did not have such a terrifying formation. This made them wild with joy. Perhaps this place was their chance to escape. All of a sudden, the people from the 6 great sects rushed in that direction. The place that was not covered by the holy slang array was naturally the third hall. The people from the third hall were also stunned by the terrifying scene. They hadn't expected Lin Xian's formation to be so exquisite. Not even a little saint or saint artifact could withstand it. This made them extremely shocked. But soon their scalps went numb, and they were so scared that they peed their pants. They saw the people from the 6 great sects rushing towards them in an overwhelming manner. Damn it, what's going on? Why are they coming towards us? Shouldn't they be fighting Lin Xian? Lin Xian's true technique is the most powerful, and our third hall is not covered by that kind of formation. They are trying to break through from here. An elder screamed. The other martial artists from the 3 halls were so scared that their scalps went numb. Break through from here? What a joke! Although the third hall was powerful, it was only relative. They were facing the 6 great sects now. Damn it, hurry up and run. The people from the third hall turned around and fled, but they couldn't escape. They were surrounded by the people from the 6 great sections. When the people from the 6 great sects saw the people from the third hall soaring into the sky, they thought that the other party was going to counterattack. Immediately, laws and divine abilities fell from the sky. Those people didn't even have the chance to speak before they were blasted into a bloody mist. Kill! Kill them! We must occupy this place. This is our only chance. The eyes of the people from the 6 great sects turned red. The people from the third hall had gone crazy. They couldn't escape at all. The third hall master could only bite the bullet and say, "Defend!" They once again formed a formation and even took out their sacred artifacts to defend. But this time, the other party also had sacred artifacts. The other party had more saints than them, and they were instantly beaten back. The third hall master kept vomiting blood. The bodies of the elders were also broken, and their faces were pale. Stop fighting, we don't fight anymore. The people from the third hall screamed crazily. However, the people from the 6 great sects didn't care at all. This was their only chance. On the other side, Lin Xian heard the voice and immediately snorted coldly. Stop fighting? Third hall, how dare you? Are you betraying the Langia Star? Are you going to be traitors? His voice was extremely sonorous, and the people from the third hall knelt on the ground. Damn it, when did they say that they were going to be traitors? Damn brat, how dare you trick us? The third hall master screamed crazily. Hurry up and help us. Yes, you are abusing your position to take revenge. You can't do this to us. The elders also roared crazily. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Third hall master, you're wrong. I didn't trick you at all, and I'm not abusing my position to take revenge. I'm gathering the power of the formation for the ultimate attack. But it will take some time, and this period of time is very important. The formation can't be destroyed by them. The third hall did a good job and attracted most of the firepower. You guys did a great job. This action of yours will allow me to focus all my attention on condensing the formation and unleash the ultimate attack. Lin Xian raised his thumb and waved it in the distance. Well done. Beautiful, your head. The people from the third hall vomited blood. Damn it, gathering the formation? Ultimate attack? Who would believe that? What you're doing is taking revenge. They roared crazily, but no one paid attention to them. Lin Xian said, Don't worry. There will definitely be sacrifices in a battle. The Langia Star has seen the sacrifice of the third hall today. Your sacrifice won't be in vain. The final victory will belong to the Langia Star. Third hall, you guys have to hold on. The corners of Dreamy and Mubai's mouths twitched when they heard this. Hall Master Lin was really ruthless. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon laughed. Humph, the third hall was going against them. Now they know what's good for them. Chapter 3544. The corners of the other palace's mouths twitched. They knew about the grudge between the third palace and Lin Xian. The third palace had suppressed Lin Xian many times in the past and even wanted to snatch Lin Xian's treasures. The third palace had even wanted to join forces with them to exert pressure. However, they did not agree at that time. Now, it seemed like they had made the right choice. If they had joined forces with the third palace, they would have ended up in the same miserable state as the third palace. This time, the third palace had really made the wrong decision. The other palace masters and elders shook their heads slightly. The third palace was in a state of wailing and howling. It had turned into hell. The people of the third palace could not withstand such a huge impact. In an instant, they had lost countless martial artists. The small saint of the third palace had also come out to fight against the other party. However, he was also severely injured. The third palace was about to be destroyed. The surviving elders of the third hall and the hall master of the third hall kept wailing, "Hall Master Lin, I was wrong. Palace Master Lin, please be merciful and save us. Hall Master Lin, we won't dare to go against you in the future." They begged for mercy. They finally realized that Lin Xian was the only one who could save them. What? His palace master was silent. At this moment, the palace master of Langya Palace spoke. "Palace Master Lin, the third palace belongs to the Langya Star after all. Don't worry, Palace Master. My formation is ready to attack." Lin Xian nodded. He naturally knew that the Langya Star would not allow the third palace to be completely destroyed. Therefore, it was about time for him to take action. At this moment, the third palace had already learned their lesson. They had basically suffered heavy losses. Even if some of them survived, they were severely injured. After this battle, the third palace could be said to exist in name only. Boom! 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 A sky-piercing sword chi with starry sky flames soared into the sky again and attacked the third palace. Damn it! The people of the 6 major sects were also in despair. Their mood was not much better than the third palace. These people frantically tried to resist. However, the formation had already been completely activated. Its power was unparalleled and could not be stopped at all. The people of the 6 major sects were dying one after another. This battle was world-shaking. The formation lasted for 10 days and 10 nights. The entire world was in a state of rumbling. In the end, when the formation disappeared, the people from the 6 great sects were almost all dead. Another wave of sword chi swept out, and everyone was annihilated. As for the third palace, it was in tatters, beaten beyond recognition. There were only a few people left in the third hall. Not even 1% of the original number was left. On the other hand, the other 11 palaces were basically unscathed, and this scene made many people rejoice. At the same time, they were even more shocked. If the people of the third hall hadn't offended Lin Xian, then that place would also have been set up with a peerless array formation. In that case, the Langya Star would basically not suffer any losses and would be able to completely eliminate the experts of the 6 great sections. Thinking of this, they sucked in a cold breath. What kind of formation was this? The eyes of a few grand elders flickered. They were very similar to the legendary Zhu Xingjin. Even if it wasn't, it would be an array formation of a similar level. Zhu Xingjin. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. Lin Xian actually had such a level of formation in his hands. No wonder he was so confident. They naturally knew about the legend of Zhu Xingjin. It was an array formation that resounded throughout the starry sky. The young disciples of the Langya Star were first stunned for a long time. Then they burst into cheers like a tsunami. We won! We actually won! This was really unbelievable. Previously, the atmosphere of the Langya Star was extremely solemn. Everyone thought that they would definitely die, so they were prepared to fight with their backs against the wall. But they didn't expect that Lin Xian's array formation would actually reverse the situation of the battle. Moreover, it was a shocking reversal. They looked at Lin Xian and kept shouting, "Lin Xian Wudi! Lin Xian Wudi! Thank you for taking action, Hall Master Lin." The Hall Masters and Elders were also grateful. Indeed, if it wasn't for Lin Xian, they would have ended up like the third hull. The reason why they could survive was entirely because of Lin Xian's array formation. Everyone, you are too polite. As a member of the Langistar, I naturally have to face the enemy together. Lin Xian said with a smile. The remaining Hall Masters and Elders of the third Hall walked over. Their faces were extremely ugly. After this battle, the third Hall was completely finished. However, they didn't dare to say anything. They still had to thank Lin Xian. If Lin Xian had taken action a little later, they would probably have been killed as well. So they could only thank Hall Master Lin for saving them at the critical moment. The entire Langistar was cheering. Everyone felt like they had survived a disaster. In fact, they felt that it was unreal. However, the Langia Palace Master, Lin Xian, and the other 12 Hall Masters and Elders weren't too excited, because they still had things to do. They decided to fight back. This time, the 6 major sects joined forces to besiege the Langistar, which attracted the attention of the entire universe. If they didn't fight back, wouldn't everyone think that the Langistar was easy to bully? So they immediately took action. Countless powerful Hall Masters and Elders took out their array formations and sacred artifacts and attacked. Lin Xian also went. They weren't worried at all that someone would sneak attack their nest because the Crimson Dragon was guarding it. With the protection of this array formation, it wouldn't be a problem for the 6 major sects to come. So these people didn't have any worries. The Langia Palace's palace master, Lin Xian, led many saints to attack, causing an uproar in the myriad worlds. They all investigated the news and found out that the 6 major sects had joined forces and were actually killed by the Langistar. When the news came out, the entire universe was in an uproar. How was this possible? They guessed countless results. The worst was that the Langistar was destroyed and Lin Xian was captured. In the best case, the Langistar had submitted, but it had been smashed to pieces and never recovered from the setback. However, the current situation was completely different. Only one hall of the Langistar was attacked. As for the other 11 palaces, they were basically unscathed. This was just too unbelievable. This was simply a miraculous skill. How did they do it? These people went crazy. At the same time, they saw the Langistar move out in large numbers. Needless to say, they were definitely attacking the 6 major sections. Sure enough, in the following days, news of the war spread. The 6 major sects were attacked by the Langistar one after another and suffered heavy losses. The 6 major sects tried to counterattack and sneak attack the Langistar's nest, but they were instantly killed. This scene made everyone go crazy. They knew that the Langistar had a peerless and terrifying foundation that could protect the entire world from attack. In the end, the 6 major sects asked for peace. They could only compensate countless natural treasures to calm the war. There was no other way. If the war continued, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. The Langistar's aura was too strong. Moreover, due to the Langistar's victory, they directly gathered many allies. This way, the 6 major sects wouldn't be able to withstand it at all. After the war, the 6 major sects suffered heavy losses. Without a few hundred years of recuperation, they wouldn't be able to recover their vitality. Therefore, after compensating a large number of natural treasures, the 6 major sects directly sealed the world and entered seclusion. Everyone guessed that the 6 major sects would reappear 500 years later. Chapter 3545. This battle shocked the first astral realm. Everyone knew how terrifying the Langistar was, and at the same time, they also knew how terrifying Lin Xian was. This was because it was rumored that the Langistar was safe and sound because of Lin Xian. This time, Lin Xian took the initiative to attack. He led the army of the Langistar with the Langia Palace Master and killed everyone. From now on, no one would dare to offend Lin Xian. He was simply a killing god. The Langistar was jubilant. The return of Lin Xian, the Langia Palace Master, and the Langistar army caused a stir in the Langistar. At this moment, the entire world was cheering. Lin Xian also became a legend of the Langistar. In addition to being the 8th Palace Master, he also became a new core elder and a legendary elder. At the same time, half of the heavenly treasures obtained from the 6 major sects were given to Lin Xian. This was simply a shocking amount of wealth. However, everyone agreed because this time it was all because of Lin Xian that they were able to survive and kill everyone. Lin Xian gladly accepted these heavenly treasures. He had consumed a lot of resources now, so he would not be polite. Next, Lin Xian began to go into seclusion. He wanted to consolidate his strength again. At the same time, he also asked the Langistar to help him gather information. Firstly, it was about the Rinnegan and the reincarnation sword. Secondly, it was about the reincarnation pearl. Lastly, it was about the 2nd astral realm. Lin Xian went into seclusion to cultivate. The Crimson Dragon pestered Black Mountain to learn array formations. 3 months later, Lin Xian came out of seclusion. At the same time, the Langistar also sent the information over. As for the reincarnation sword and the Rinnegan, they were too mysterious and unpredictable. They could not find out at all. As for the reincarnation pearl and the Langistar, they received some information that seemed to be related to the 2nd astral realm. As for what happened in the 2nd astral realm, they also knew. They did not even have to deliberately investigate. The entire 1st astral realm was talking about this at this moment. After the massacre on the Langistar, things gradually calmed down. At the same time, another piece of news arrived that caused the heaven and earth to boil. Some of the holy cities of the original 2-star realms began to recruit new disciples. Among them, Wushuang City was the most famous. This was because Wushuang City's Wushuang, Holy King, seemed to be recruiting disciples. That was a saint king. Therefore, it caused the 1st astral realm to rumble and shake. Countless experts and geniuses set off for the 2nd astral boundary. When Lin Xian received the news, he too took a deep breath. Unparalleled Holy King? It seemed like it had something to do with Peerless City. When he thought of Peerless City, he thought of someone. Previously, when he was training Gold Star, someone from Peerless City had appeared. That person was called Fu Hongya. The moment he appeared, he shocked the 4th heaven saint of heavenly thunder. This scene was unforgettable. It seemed that Fu Hongya had come to the 1st star realm to spread the news. He had almost reached the 1st star rank. Basically, no one in the younger generation was a match for him. Therefore, he also planned to go to the 2nd astral realm. In addition, now that Wushuang City was recruiting disciples, Wushuang City naturally had to go. The Langistar was also very clear about this matter. They also hoped that Lin Xian's path would be longer. This way, the Langistar would have a stronger backing. Therefore, no one stopped him. Instead, they supported him. Even the Langya Palace Master specially selected a batch of treasures and heavenly treasures to give to Lin Xian. It was for him to cultivate on the way. The Crimson Dragon would definitely be with him. The Northern Demon thought about it and also prepared to go. However, he did not plan to bring his sister along, because when they went to the 2nd astral realm, their survival was uncertain. They would definitely encounter more battles and geniuses than now. He might be in danger if he brought his sister along. Therefore, he let his sister cultivate on the Langistar for the time being. After he made a name for himself in the 2nd astral realm, he would bring his sister over. Next, the 3 of them left the Langistar and prepared to go to the 2nd astral realm. The Black Earth was still in the process of evolution, so it couldn't be used. Lin Xian and the others took another spirit ship. The spirit ship sailed through the universe. During this time, many people passed by them. Those people from the spiritual state were very fast, and it seemed that they all had the same goal. In the spirit ship, Lin Xian and the others were holding a lot of information. These were all about how to go to the 2nd astral realm. It turned out that they couldn't reach the 2nd astral realm by themselves, because between the 1st astral realm and the 2nd astral realm was the disordered star sea. The disordered star C was rumored to be able to disturb the world of stars. It was very terrifying. Only some powerful saints could still fly in it with the help of sacred artifacts. However, the most dangerous place was a region in the disordered star C, the fog of death. It was a star region in the disordered star C. There would be a kind of gray fog there, making people unable to see clearly. This was not the most dangerous thing. The most dangerous thing was that the fog could devour everything. If one was contaminated by the fog of death, their corpses and souls would rot. Even if a small saint barged into the fog of death, they wouldn't be able to escape. This was the most dangerous thing. After receiving this news, Lin Xian and the others gasped. The fog of death that even small saints didn't dare to enter? It was too terrifying. The fog of death's range wasn't as large as the disordered star C, but that was only relatively speaking. It was actually a very large star region. Moreover, it was a place that many worlds had to pass through. For example, from the first astral realm to the second astral realm, one had to pass through the fog of death. Therefore, if they wanted to pass through, they had to take the fog ship. At this moment, they were heading to one of the star realms that had the fog ship. These realms were similar to the ports on the continent. It could be said that anyone who wanted to go to the second astral realm had to set off from these realms. Just like that, Lin Xian and the others learned the information while driving the spirit ship and quickly flying towards those star realms. On the other side, on the Langus star, the area of the third point, the third palace, was still in the process of being rebuilt. Under the ground, among the countless corpses, one of the corpses moved a little. No one noticed the situation in the ruins. The corpse suddenly flipped over, and a reddish-brown stone rolled out. The reddish-brown stone was very big and covered with veins. When it squeezed out from the pile of corpses, it directly rushed into the void and flew rapidly. Soon, it left the Langus star. When it completely left the Langus star, the reddish-brown stone was covered with cracks. Then, it suddenly split open, and a figure appeared from inside. The figure was unusually young, but his eyes were filled with vicissitudes of life. They're all dead. Damn it, they're all dead. Lin Xian, I won't let you off. I'll definitely kill you. Chapter 3546. In the cold void of the universe, a spirit boat was flying quickly. There was a group of 6 people in the spirit boat. There were 3 women and 3 men. Among them, there were 2 young girls and 1 middle-aged woman. Of the 2 young girls, one was very noble and wore a veil on her face. The one beside her was obviously a little maid. The other 3 people were all guards, including the middle-aged woman. She was also a guard. Their auras were very strong. They were all sages. The strongest one had reached the late 3rd heaven of the sage realm. Miss, we are really lucky this time. I didn't expect to get that thing so quickly. The green-robed little maid smiled. Although she was just a maid, her cultivation had reached the early 1st heaven of the sage realm. Her elder sister, who was the woman in white, nodded her head as a smile appeared in her eyes. That's right. This time, we came to the 1st astral realm secretly in order to keep a low profile and obtain that thing as quickly as possible. Now it seems that everything is going smoothly. We just need to return to the 2 astral realms secretly. Don't worry, miss. No one found out about our whereabouts this time. The middle-aged woman smiled. While they were talking, the spirit boat was moving quickly. Their destination was the few worlds at the edge of the scattered star ocean. Blue Moon Star. One of the worlds at the edge of the scattered star ocean could be said to be a dock. It had the fog boat to the 2nd astral realm. At this moment, in a luxurious hall on Blue Moon Star, a young man was sitting there. He swirled the wine glass in his hand and listened to the report of his subordinate who was kneeling in front of him. That woman, where is she now? The purple-robed man asked indifferently. Reporting to young master, that woman is very close to Blue Moon Star. She should be able to reach there in 1 more day. Very good. Pay attention to her movements at all times. Don't be exposed. We will take action after entering the scattered star ocean. You may leave." The purple-robed young man waved his hand. The warrior who was kneeling on the ground turned into nothingness and disappeared from the hall. At the same time, countless spirit boats flew towards Blue Moon Star. Something happened near the Blue Moon Star. It turned out that due to the sudden increase in the number of warriors heading to Blue Moon Star, some people started robbing. At this moment, there were some people riding on powerful demonic beasts that blocked the path of the spirit boats. One of them was riding a two-headed demonic wolf and wielding a giant saber. With a slash of his saber, a crack appeared in the starry sky. The surrounding spirit boats all came to a halt. There were a total of 4 ships. Among them was Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian and the others frowned as they looked outside. The Crimson Dragon immediately jumped up. "Damn! Someone dares to block our way. Let me go out and kill them." He had just broken through to the Saint Realm and was worried about not having a place to fight. Lin Xian stopped him. "Don't rush. Let's observe the situation first." The North Goblin nodded as well. "That's right, there's no need to rush. We'll make a move if things don't work out. After all, the Blue Moon planet is right in front of us. We can't offend the native forces there. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome to take the fog ship. The people inside, listen up. I won't bully you and I won't kill you either. If you hand over 50,000 caddies of divine crystals for each spiritual boat, I'll let you pass." 50,000 kilograms of divine crystals. That was a shocking number. One had to know that when Lin Xian was refining Venus, he only bought 50,000 caddies of divine crystals for the sacred artifact. Now, the other party was asking for so much. They were really greedy. Damn, are these people crazy? How dare they ask for so much? The Crimson Dragon was a little angry. Lin Xian sneered. "Don't worry, even if they ask for 500,000 caddies, we won't give it to them." The Crimson Dragon also sneered. He wanted to see how strong these people were to dare to rob them here. The other 3 spirit boats also stopped there. In one of the spirit boats were the 6 people from before. The masked woman frowned. Were they discovered? Previously, they were worried that their enemies might have discovered them. Now it seemed that they weren't. They were just robbers. The little maid in green was also angry. These people from the first astral realm were too arrogant. They asked for 50,000 caddies of divine crystals? How could an ordinary person afford that? If it was in the past, very few people would be able to afford it. But now it was a special time. Many people wanted to go to the first astral realm and become a disciple of the Sage King. Those who could come to Cerulean Moonstar were definitely not ordinary people. Hence, they were rich. The group of robbers probably had this idea. The middle-aged woman at the side also snorted. "Miss, what should we do?" The little maid asked. Then a burly man at the side said, "Why don't I go out and kill them all?" This man was tall and his body was covered with Tao patterns. He was obviously a sage expert. However, the masked woman shook her head. She didn't want to act rashly. If they were exposed, those people would probably catch up. By then, the situation would be bad. Hearing this, the burly man behind her retreated. He stood there like a javelin, motionless. The other 2 spirit boats were also stopped there. The people inside were probably discussing. But at this moment, one of the spirit boats shook violently. Countless runes appeared on it. Then a beam of light flew out. Like a heavenly sword, it slashed at the robbers in front. This attack was very sudden and terrifying. It mobilized the Tao of heaven and earth and directly shrouded the robbers. Let's see how you die." In the spirit boat, a young man in black sneered. "How dare you stop us and steal our things? You're really courting death." There was a loud explosion in front and countless cracks spread. "All right, we can go now." The young man in black laughed. The masked woman also regained her composure. She waved her hand and prepared to let the spirit boat continue. However, on the other side, Lin Xian frowned as a trace of surprise appeared on his face. In the big crack in front, a cold voice sounded. Haha, how dare you attack us? Seems like you don't want to live anymore. As soon as he said that, a blade light flew out of that terrifying crack like a heavenly river. It directly slashed at the third spirit boat. With a clang, the saber landed on the spirit boat, sending the rest of the boat flying. An even more terrifying crack spread out. At the same time, a huge hand fell. There was a golden net on it that shone brightly. That was the Tao of heaven and earth. In an instant, it shrouded the spirit boat. In the next moment, the huge net completely trapped the spiritual boat in the void. This sudden scene stunned everyone in the spirit boat. Someone on the masked woman's side exclaimed, "Is this the immortal trapping net?" Chapter 3547. The immortal trapping net was an extremely terrifying sacred artifact. It was said that it could even trap immortals, which was enough to show how powerful it was. No, it wasn't the immortal trapping net. At least, it wasn't the real immortal trapping net. It should be a replica. The veiled woman frowned. It seemed that this group of people wasn't simple. They actually had such a thing in their hands. Under the replica immortal trapping net, the spiritual boat couldn't escape at all. Instead, the people inside were caught. The black-robed young man, He and the others were in a terrible state. They looked at the net above their heads in horror. "Damn it, how dare you attack me? Do you know who I am?" The black-robed man roared. The bandits on the other side sneered. "Who cares who you are? If you talk nonsense again, I'll kill you." Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, a bandit beside him took out a giant axe and chopped it forward. This time, the mountain collapsed and the ground cracked. The black-robed man and the others were directly sent flying, vomiting blood. They looked terrified. Stop fighting. I'm willing to pay 50,000 caddies of divine crystals." They didn't dare to say anything else. They took out a storage ring and threw it forward in a terrible state. After the bandit in front caught it, he scanned it with his soul spirit and sneered. "Very good. You should have done this earlier. Get lost quickly." He ignored the bandit and looked at the other 3 spiritual boats. The golden net in his hand kept expanding and enveloped the 3 spiritual boats. Inside, Lin Xian and the others felt a force that seemed to want to drag them out. What a strange weapon. "Let's go out and take a look." Liao Xian and the others got out of the spiritual boat. On the other side, the masked woman and the others also came out. There was a 4th spiritual boat, and the people inside it also came out. The leader was also a man in green armor. He looked mighty and extraordinary. "Do you want to die or obediently hand over the divine crystals?" The bandits looked forward and sneered. Suddenly they saw the masked woman and the others and were instantly interested. "Hey, there's a beautiful girl too." Although the masked woman's face was covered, her figure and aura were unparalleled. She attracted the attention of the bandits immediately. "Girl, take off your veil and let us see." The bandits at the front laughed wildly. The man in green armor looked towards the center. Lin Xian and the rest also looked over, and a trace of surprise appeared on their faces. That veil was also a terrifying weapon. It was actually able to isolate the probing of souls. It should be known that everyone present was a saint. Their souls were extremely powerful. However, they couldn't see through each other's faces, which was really surprising. It seemed that this masked woman had an extraordinary background. The masked woman didn't say anything. However, the people beside her had cold looks on their faces. As long as the order was given, they would immediately attack and tear the people in front of them into pieces. "Little girl, didn't you hear what I said?" "What? Could it be that you want me to personally take off your veil?" The bandits laughed, and one of them couldn't wait to leave. At the same time, the other bandits also began to attack Lin Xian and the green-armored man. Some of the bandits were the first to spot Lin Xian and the others. The three saints of the first heaven were really trash. People like, you want to go to the second astral realm? You're overestimating yourselves. Kid, hand over everything you have. If you don't have 50,000 divine gems, I'll make you wish you were dead. Give your ass. Who the F asterisk CK are you? The dark, rainbow, godly dragon slapped over. The terrifying dragon claws covered the sky and pressed down on the bandit in front of it. With a boom, the bandit was sent flying. An earth-shattering sound was heard. This scene stunned everyone. Among the other two groups of bandits, those who wanted to take liberties with the masked woman stopped and turned their heads. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Damn it, how dare they resist? Kill them. These bandits were infuriated. They were not ordinary bandits, but saints. They also had terrifying weapons. Now, someone dared to provoke them. They were courting death. Suddenly, a giant axe that reached the sky like a mountain rushed towards the crimson dragon. The crimson dragon sneered and spat out lightning and rain that filled the sky. He engaged in a fierce battle with these bandits. Although the crimson dragon was only a saint of the first heaven, he was a dragon after all. The divine ability of the dragon race, coupled with the power of his bloodline, was really terrifying. As soon as he attacked, the mountains collapsed, the earth cracked, the seas dried up, and the rocks crumbled. Before long, those bandits were all sent flying. Damn it, go to hell. The bandits controlled the golden net to envelop the crimson dragon, trying to seal him. The crimson dragon sneered. His dragon blood surged, and the dragon scales on his back spread out, forming a dragon saber that soared into the sky. With a crack, it collided with the golden net and tore it apart. The bandits all vomited blood and flew backward, their faces full of fear. The masked woman and the others were about to attack when they were provoked, but they did not expect the person next to them to attack first. Moreover, what surprised them was that a saint of the first heaven could defeat these saint-level bandits. It was beyond their expectations that he could even tear the Golden King into pieces. This guy is a demon, right? He's so strong. The little maidservant was surprised. Next to her, the middle-aged woman said in a low voice, "It seems that he has the bloodline of the dragon race. But this is good. It saves us the trouble of exposing ourselves." "Damn it, who are you?" The bandits gritted their teeth and roared. The crimson dragon snorted. "Listen up. Your grandpa dragon is the only dragon god sage in the world. You dare to rob me? I think you don't want to live anymore, do you? Fine, just you wait. I'll make you wish you were dead," the bandits said viciously. Then they drew a streak of light and flew into the distance. The masked woman and the others looked in the direction of the crimson dragon. They were surprised and kept sizing him up. She found that other than the crimson dragon, who had the bloodline of the dragon race, the other two people seemed to be at the first heaven. One of them was slender. His vitality was abnormally strong. He should be cultivating the wood element. Moreover, there was a faint demonic aura on him which surprised her. Could it be that this was a team of demons? She then looked at the third person. She found that the third young man was very special. He was wearing a black robe and stood there with his hands behind his back. His eyes were very calm. Moreover, he was terrifyingly calm, as if he did not care about what happened just now. Was he pretending to be calm, or did he have a plan? The masked woman did not know. But she still took a few more glances because she had never seen such a calm gaze, especially from a young man. Lin Xian seemed to have sensed someone's attention. He also saw the masked woman, but his gaze was calm. But soon he was surprised. He even raised his eyebrows, revealing a trace of surprise. Chapter 3548. Lin Xian was a little surprised because he noticed her necklace. It was a defensive Dharma treasure at the half-step saint level. However, this wasn't what surprised him. What surprised him was the fact that there was actually a spirit array inside, and that formation had a positioning function. This necklace had been tampered with. It seemed that this woman was being followed, and she probably didn't know it herself. Lin Xian immediately realized what was going on. Who was following her? Was it an enemy? He didn't ask too much. At this moment, the veiled woman also saw the surprise in Lin Xian's eyes. She also revealed a look of confusion. "Hey, what are you looking at?" The little maid in green snorted and stood in front of her young miss. She looked at Lin Xian. "You're too dishonest. Don't think that we'll be grateful just because you helped us. Let me tell you, we can solve this without you. Little Qing, don't be unreasonable." The veiled woman lightly snorted. Then she looked at Lin Xian. "Thank you for helping." With that, she turned and walked towards the spirit ship. It seemed that she had no intention of befriending them at all. Lin Xian shrugged. Since she didn't want to talk to him, he didn't need to tell her about the necklace. On the other side, the man in green armor's eyes flickered. He didn't even say, "Thank you." He directly led his people into the spirit ship and left. "Let's go." Lin Xian waved his hand and left with the North Devil and the Crimson Dragon. Damn, why are these people so arrogant? Ben Huang saved them. The Crimson Dragon was unhappy. The North Devil said, maybe their identities aren't ordinary. The three of them also entered the spirit ship and headed towards the Blue Moon planet below. Soon, they arrived at the Blue Moon planet, North Gazing Pavilion. It was a very famous place on the Blue Moon planet. It was the most well-informed place, so most saints would come to the North Gazing Pavilion when they arrived. Lin Xian and the others naturally went to the North Gazing Pavilion. When they reached the 9th floor of Wangbei Pavilion, they found a familiar figure. The masked woman was also here. Lin Xian didn't go over to greet them. Instead, he found a table by the window and sat down with Northern Witch and Crimson Dragon. They ordered some dishes and some wine. They were preparing to gather some information. On the other side, the masked woman's group had also discovered Lin Xian's group. Immediately, the little maid curled her lips. Humph, this guy really is like a ghost that won't leave. Sis, they're not following us, are they? The middle-aged woman said. That shouldn't be the case. This place was called North Gazing Tower. It was a good place to gather information. They should be here to gather information. Therefore, it was very normal for it to appear. What a coincidence! At this moment, another voice came from the staircase. It turned out that the green-armored man had come up. As soon as he saw the masked woman, he smiled and went up to greet her. The masked woman didn't want to attract too much attention. Hence, she nodded in response. However, her tone wasn't very enthusiastic. When the green-armored man saw Lin Xian and the others, he was surprised. He said, "We meet again. Since that's the case, let's have a drink." That was good too. Lin Xian and the others also wanted to gather information. Hence, the three of them went over. The few of them got to know each other briefly. Lin Xian could tell that other than the green-armored man, the masked woman didn't say anything at all. She must have fabricated an identity. However, he didn't care because their identities were also fabricated. The man in light armor was called Tingshan. He was the young master of a large family. This time, he was also heading to the second astral realm. As for the masked woman, everyone called her Fairy Rain. These people were said to be from a herb-gathering family. This time, they wanted to go to the second astral realm to gather an extremely precious spiritual herb. Hence, they were heading there. As for Lin Xian and the others, they didn't hide much. They reported their names. However, the name Lin Xian wasn't famous. What was famous was the name Lin Wudi. Hence, when Lin Xian said his name, the green-armored man was stunned. He found it familiar, but couldn't recall where he had heard it before. He didn't think of Lin Wudi either. As for the masked woman, she didn't seem to have heard of him at all. Hence, they just exchanged some simple pleasantries. However, since both parties already had a preliminary understanding of each other, Lin Xian said calmly, "Fairy Rain, can I take a look at your necklace?" "Kid, I think you're very suspicious. You've been eyeing my sister." The maidservant was a little displeased. Her eyes glowed strangely. The masked woman was stunned. Could it be that her necklace was special? She asked, "Young master, do you like this necklace? Is it just an ordinary half-saint weapon?" As she spoke, she handed it over to Lin Xian. Lin Xian took it and sensed it carefully. He realized that his previous guess was right, so he returned it. "I don't know where you got this item. If it's just an ordinary item, I advise you to throw it away or sell it as soon as possible. Don't keep it with you. Sell it or throw it away." The other party was stunned. The light-armored man was also stunned. Could it be that there was something special about this necklace? Lin Xian shook his head and didn't say anything else. He had already reminded him clearly enough. He couldn't tell him that the other party was being targeted. What if he provoked some unknown person to kill him again? Hence, he just kindly reminded him. As for how to deal with it, that was the other party's problem. The maidservant asked several times, but Lin Xian didn't say anything. This made her very depressed and angry. Why was this guy so arrogant? He was just a first heaven sage. What was there to be arrogant about? What was the status of their young lady? Damn it, this guy was even more arrogant than their young lady. She couldn't tolerate this. Hence, she didn't ask any more questions. The masked woman was also stunned. She nodded, but didn't throw it away immediately. She just kept it. They were here. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Immediately, many people came up to the 9th floor. These people had powerful auras. Some of them even took out a formation boundary and sealed the entire 9th floor. The people on the 9th floor discussed among themselves. A few of the sages were dissatisfied and released their divine aura. However, they were quickly warned. The Yun family is doing something. Those who are unrelated get out of the way. Anyone who dares to resist will die without a doubt. What? The Yun family? Many people trembled. Even the sages were stunned. They retracted their divine aura and didn't say anything. Instead, they silently walked away. For a moment, only Lin Xian, the masked woman, the green-armored man, and the others were left on the scene. These people were completely surrounded. It was them. Damn it, how dare they hit me? The bandits who escaped earlier were also here. They looked ahead with murderous expressions, especially when they looked at Lin Xian and the others. They were filled with biting, cold-killing intent. Chapter 3549. I was wondering who it was. So it's you guys who don't know what's good for you. How dare you come here? Do you want to die? The Crimson Dragon looked at these people and sneered. The others were in an uproar. Who are these people? How dare they go against the Yun family? Are they tired of living? The Yun family was one of the top families on the Blue Moon planet, so no one dared to be impudent. Catch this snake. I'm going to pull out his tendons and skin him to make a leather belt. The robbers gritted their teeth. At the same time, I want these people to kill him as well. He pointed at Lin Xian, the light-armored man, and the others. Then he looked at the masked woman. This girl is not bad. Catch him. I'm going to give him to young Master Yun first. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people quickly attacked. Damn, Ben Huang will kill you. The Crimson Dragon rushed out and fought with those people. The masked woman and the light-armored man did not move because the Crimson Dragon looked very domineering. There were only a few people left. However, there were still people who broke through. They took the lead to attack the beasts and Lin Xian. One of them was a burly man who was at the late stage of the first heaven. He held a mountain-splitting axe in his hand and chopped it down. This time, it could split the entire world in half. Boom! The terrifying axe landed on Lin Xian's body and made a sonorous sound. Many people closed their eyes, because this attack could definitely split Lin Xian in half. It might even be able to kill him. Even many people on the side of the masked woman and the azure-armored man frowned. However, in the next moment, they were stunned because they saw a shocking scene. The attack that could split the world landed on Lin Xian's body and made countless sparks. However, Lin Xian did not move at all. He was not injured. There was not even a crack on his body. How is that possible? Everyone on the ninth floor went crazy. Who is this person? The green-armored man and the masked woman were also stunned. What a strong physique. Could it be that he's a body-tempering expert? Damn it, go to hell. The burly man's hands were numb from the shock. At the same time, he let out another roar and chopped down with all his might. This time the power was stronger than before, and the laws were also stronger. However, this time around the axe was directly shattered. Not only that, the burly man vomited blood and was sent flying. His arms instantly turned into a bloody mist. The North Goblins also joined the battle to help the Crimson Dragon. In no time at all, they sent those people flying. This scene shocked everyone. The bandits were also stunned. They were so scared that they started to tremble. Heavens! Aren't these three a little too ferocious? One of them swept through everything, and the other one's body was actually so valiant. Damn it, who are you people? The warriors of the Yun family roared crazily. Lin Xian said coldly, "You are not qualified to know my name." A middle-aged man walked over. "However, it's a pity that you met me. Let me tell you, we're from the Yun family, and we're young Master Yun's subordinates. If you offend us, you're dead meat. If you surrender now, you might have a chance to live." "What young Master Yun? Young Master Go? It has nothing to do with me," Lin Xian said indifferently. The moment he said that, everyone's expression changed. There was actually someone who dared to look down on young Master Yin, and even dared to insult and humiliate him. Does this kid want to die? Good kid, you've got guts. Just you wait. Those people obviously wanted to call for more help. Lin Xian smiled. He was willing to accompany them any time. Most of the people left, and only a small number of them stayed. The middle-aged man also stood in the distance, laughing coldly. The Crimson Dragon of the North Goblins had returned, and the masked woman was shocked. Lin Xian did not even move from the start to the end, and his expression was incomparably unreadable. This person was very strange. Who was he? That piqued her interest. Thinking of that, she took off the green veil on her face, leaving only the last layer. Although it was still a little hazy, they could see a little more clearly. Instantly, many people exclaimed, "What a beautiful woman!" No wonder the Yun family wanted to make a move. Even if young Master Yun saw her personally, he would be incomparably moved. Lin Xian was also surprised. He had to admit that this woman was very beautiful and had a myriad of different kinds of charm. Although half of her face was covered, her pair of eyes were like limpid autumn water, able to captivate souls. Was it an eyebrow technique? He looked and shook his head. No, she was born like that. Thinking about it, it should be related to her physique and bloodline. Lin Xian guessed in his heart. On the other side, the light-armored man's face was flushed, and his eyes shone brightly. He said, "Don't worry, Fairy Rain. I know some people on Blue Moon Planet. I'll help you settle this matter." As he said that, he asked one of his subordinates to leave. It seemed that he had gone to call for more help. Not long after, that subordinate returned, and at the same time, another man came with him. That man looked like a typical young master of a large family. His clothes were incomparably luxurious, and many of them were half-step sage artifacts. One could imagine that his identity was not ordinary. When the light-armored man saw that person, he immediately smiled and said, "Brother Yang, long time no see." "Indeed, it's you." When Yang Tai saw Tingshan, he also waved his hand and said, "Why? Did you get into trouble that you need me to settle?" There were indeed some matters that required Brother Yang's help. Tingshan invited the other party over. Yang Tai raised his chin arrogantly, as if his identity was more honorable than Tingshan. However, when he came near, he saw the masked woman. His eyes immediately lit up. He did not know how to address this fairy. Tingshan said, "Brother Yang, this matter is related to Fairy Rain." As he said that, he gave a simple explanation. Then he said, Blue Moon Planet's young master Yun dares to have designs on us." As he said that, he snorted coldly. Yang Tai was originally greedy for the masked woman's beauty, but when he heard that, he was stunned. He asked young Master Yin, "Which young Master Yin?" Blue Moon Planet had a moon bay. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered there, and the essence of the sun and moon. It was really an excellent place to cultivate and live. Blue Moon Bay was like a crescent moon that flowed on the ground. Those who could build palaces here were definitely the top families and sages with status. At this moment, in the middle of the Moon Bay, there was a majestic hall. In the hall, there were singing and dancing girls. Every single one of them was extremely beautiful, and their cultivation was excellent. Some of them were even cultivation cauldrons for martial artists. At this moment, they were all surrounding those people. If there were other people here, they would definitely be shocked. These were all sages. Moreover, they were all extremely famous sages in Blue Moon Planet. At this moment, all of them were gathered together. Who could have such great power? These sages were facing such beautiful girls. They were the best cultivation cauldrons. However, they did not care at all. Their gazes, they were all placed in front. At the forefront, there were two figures sitting there. They were two men who looked very young. One of them was wearing a brocade robe and had a smile on his face. The other person was wearing a Taoist robe and had a look of arrogance on his face. Chapter 3550. Young Master Gao, come and have a drink. This is a 7,000-year-old spiritual wine. It's very precious. I've specially prepared it to entertain you. Young Master Gao. The young man in a cloud robe smiled. The other man in a Taoist robe, young Master Gao, nodded slightly and drank a cup. However, there was a look of disdain in his eyes. A 7,000-year-old spiritual wine, specially prepared to entertain him? To be honest, he didn't take it seriously. His status was much higher than the other parties. He had even drunk a 10,000-year-old spiritual wine before, let alone a 7,000-year-old spiritual wine. All of you, quickly serve young Master Gao. The young man in a cloud robe said again. He waved his hand, and the surrounding ladies swarmed around young Master Gao. The young man in a cloud robe was called Yun Hai. He was a young master of the Yun family. The Yun family was one of the top families in the Blue Moon Star. Hence, his status was extremely honorable. Wherever he went, he would be surrounded by stars. Even those sages had to be under his feet. However, at this moment, he was trying to curry favor with young Master Gao because young Master Gao's background was even more extraordinary. Young Master Gao wasn't from the Blue Moon Star, but from the second astral realm. To be exact, he was from the second astral realm, Sky Thunder City. Sky Thunder City was much stronger than the Yun family. Not to mention the Yun family. Even the entire Blue Moon Star combined couldn't compare to Sky Thunder City. Hence, he had to curry favor with young Master Gao. As long as he had young Master Gao's support, he would become the family head sooner or later. Not only that, he could also make the Yun family the only overlord of the Blue Moon Star. Thinking of this, he was extremely excited. At this moment, the sages below started chatting. Most of them were sucking up to young Master Gao. They also knew young Master Gao's identity. One of them said that there were more and more people heading to the Blue Moon Star. It seemed that they all wanted to go to the second astral realm. That's right. I heard that Wushuang City is recruiting disciples from the Sage King. This is definitely an earth-shattering event. So what if it's Wushuang City? At this moment, young Master Gao snorted coldly. The other sages were so frightened that they broke out in cold sweat. Young Master Gao was right. No matter how powerful Wushuang City was, it couldn't be compared to Sky Thunder City. That was natural. The Sky Thunder City was extremely powerful, and as the genius of the Sky Thunder City, young Master Gao would definitely be able to sweep across all directions. I'm afraid no one in the younger generation of our first astral realm is a match for young Master Gao. Young Master Yin, who was at the side, also laughed. However, he snorted coldly in his heart. No opponent? That might not be the case. Putting aside Wushuang City, there was a Saint King overseeing it. It was not any weaker than Sky Thunder City. Furthermore, it was said that someone had killed 2 experts from the Sky Thunder City when they were refining the gold star. This matter caused an uproar. Of course, they didn't dare to mention it in front of young Master Gao. Otherwise, he would definitely go crazy. He wondered how many geniuses would be heading there this time. There should have been quite a lot of them in the past, but now there would probably be less of them. It was impossible for the 6 great sects to join. Yes, I heard that he was beaten by Lin Wudi and went into seclusion, not daring to come out for 500 years. That Lin Wudi was too strong. It was said that even the successor of a great emperor had been defeated by him. It was estimated that there were not many people among the younger generation in the first astral boundary who could be his opponent. Those sages sighed. This was definitely a peerless genius. At this moment, Mr. Gao sneered. Lin Wudi? How arrogant! How dare he claim to be invincible? He could only be called an ant. If he went to the second astral boundary, he could probably find anyone to kill him. Young Master Gao's eyes were filled with disdain. In his opinion, the people in the first astral boundary were just SOSO. They were not worthy of his attention at all. Lin Wudi was just a bunch of ants. He was bragging too much. The other sages didn't dare to speak. They could only nod repeatedly. Young Master Gao was disdainful, but they didn't dare to. They were in the first astral boundary and knew too much about Lin Wudi's legend. Therefore, even young Master Yin didn't dare to say anything. If he really faced Lin Wudi, he would probably be scared to death. Anyway, Lin Wudi had nothing to do with them. They were mainly responsible for sucking up to young Master Gao. However, at this moment, the voice of a guard came from outside. Then a guard walked in. What's going on? Can't you see that I'm entertaining young Master Gao? Didn't you say that no one is allowed to disturb me? Young Master Yin was very displeased. However, the guard said that the young master had an urgent matter. He leaned close to young Master Yin's ear and quickly transmitted his voice. Young Master Yin was furious. What's going on? The saints below also asked the same question. Young Master Yin said, Someone dares to provoke me. Moreover, my subordinate said that he found a peerless beauty and wanted to offer her to young Master Gao. Young Master Gao didn't care about the peerless beauty at first. However, when his subordinate conjured that illusion, he was stunned. Then a glint appeared in his eyes. Although the woman in the illusion was wearing a veil, he could tell at a glance that she was a peerless beauty. She was prettier than all the other women combined. More importantly, she seemed to have a hint of charm that the others didn't have. Therefore, his interest was immediately piqued. Where is this woman? Initially, young Master Yin didn't care about those ants. He could let the sages under him deal with them. However, when he saw young Master Gao, his interest was piqued. He also said, Where are those people? Young Master, they are at Northview Tower. Northview Tower? It's not that far away. Young Master Gao, why don't we go there? It just so happens that Northview Tower is a very famous place on Cerulean Moon. Young Master Gao stood up. He didn't care about Northview Tower, but he had to see the peerless beauty. Northview Tower, 9th floor. At this moment, everyone was silent. Yang Tai's expression was very unusual. Ting Shan said, I don't know who young Master Yin is, but Brother Yang, you have to help us this time. At the very least, you have to protect Feiyu. Yang Tai's eyes flashed. If it was an ordinary young Master Yin, he naturally wouldn't care. However, he was afraid of the Yun family. If it was the top Yun family, he really didn't know what to do. At this moment, the warriors who were still standing in the distance sneered. The middle-aged man also snorted coldly. Oh, isn't this the young master of the Yang family? What should I do? How dare you interfere in my business? Does the Yang family want to be exterminated? When he said that, Yang Tai was instantly enraged. Someone actually dared to threaten him and exterminate the Yang family? I have to see who it is. He slammed the table and stood up. The next moment, he almost knelt on the ground. He realized that he knew that middle-aged man. That was a deacon of the Yun family. Why was he here? Could it be? He thought of a possibility and quickly lowered his head. Don't tell me you provoked them. Chapter 3551. Ting Shan said, "That's right. It's them. They called for reinforcements. We took care of them." "Take care of your sister." Yang Tai quickly sat down and said in a low voice, "How did you offend him?" Thus, Ting Shan gave a simple explanation of what had happened earlier. Yang Tai disappeared after hearing that. He looked at Lin Xian and the other two as if he was looking at a dead man. Then he said, "Brother, do you know that you're in big trouble? You'd better not care about these people. They're going to die." He looked at Lin Xian and the others again and said, "I advise you to let go of this woman because you can't afford to offend those people." What? Tung Shan was stunned. He couldn't believe his ears. "Brother Yang, what did you say? I asked you to come here to protect us. How could you say something like that? Could it be that you're afraid of them? That shouldn't be the case. Isn't the Yang family a big family? Ting Shan, although we know each other, you can't frame me like this. Are you trying to kill me?" Yang Tai's voice was cold. He even distanced himself. He said, "Do you know who you've offended? You've offended the young master of the Yun family. And the Yun family is one of the top families on Cerulean Moon Star. The enormity of their strength is not something you can imagine. You're going to die for offending them. And you want me to help you? What a joke." He stood up as he said that. "Seeing that we are acquaintances, you should go over and kowtow to him as an apology. I'll plead from the side and maybe they'll spare your life. But them? Don't even think about it. They're going to die." The Yun family was one of the top families. They could do anything. Ting Shan was completely stunned. The guards beside him were also trembling in fear. They knew that they had kicked an iron plate this time. Although the Tun family was a big family, they couldn't even compare to the Yang family, let alone the Yun family. If they fought them head-on, they would definitely die. The masked woman frowned. It seemed that they had indeed gotten into trouble. The North Demon looked serious. The Crimson Dragon snorted. So what if they were a top family? He dared to come to Ben Huang and kill them with a slap. "Just you?" Yang Tai sneered and glanced at the Crimson Dragon and the others. 3 saints of the first celestial layer dared to boast like this? After all, just how many sages did the Yun family have? In their eyes, a first heaven sage was no different from an ant. He looked at Ting Shan again. "You've befriended such a person? Aren't you afraid of implicating your family?" Hearing this, Ting Shan took 2 steps back and distanced himself from Lin Xian and the others. He looked at the masked woman and said, "Fairy Rain, why don't you come with me and apologize to him? Perhaps he will let us go." "Impudent! Don't talk nonsense. How could my young miss possibly apologize?" The little handmaiden instantly jumped up and retorted. Beside him, the Northern Demon let out a cold snort. He actually wanted to kowtow and apologize? What a spineless person. "We disdain to associate ourselves with people like you." However, they were all top geniuses who had once stood at the peak of the world. Now, they were kowtowing and apologizing to someone else? What a joke. They wouldn't do that even if they were beaten to death. However, Ting Shan actually wanted to do that in order to save his own life. How despicable. Ting Shan looked at the Northern Demon and sneered. "You've completely offended the Yun family and will definitely die. Therefore, there's no need for me to talk to you. I'm persuading Fairy Rain. What do you think, Fairy Rain? Have you thought it through? Do you really want to go against the Yun family? We've only met by chance. You don't have to care about this. If you want to kowtow and apologize, go ahead. It has nothing to do with me." The masked woman's voice was extremely cold as she rejected him directly. With her status, she naturally wouldn't kowtow and apologize to the Yun family. She just didn't want to expose her whereabouts. First, he was mocked by Lin Xian and the others. Now, he was rejected by the masked woman. Ting Shan's expression was extremely ugly. However, he knew the severity of the situation. He immediately stood up and sneered. "Humph, since you don't know what's good for you, forget it." As he spoke, he looked at Yang Tai with a pleading gaze. Yang Tai said, "Follow me." Then, they came to the side of the middle-aged man. Yang Tai smiled and said, "Uncle Yin, this friend of mine is ignorant. He came from another world and doesn't know how powerful the Yun family is. I hope Uncle Yin can forgive us for offending the Yun family." As he spoke, he gave Ting Shan a look. Ting Shan immediately knelt on the ground with a plop. The guards beside him also knelt on the ground. "We offended Uncle Yin. We admit our mistake. I hope Uncle Yin can spare our lives." As he spoke, he kowtowed and begged for mercy. Then he took out his storage ring. There were 50,000 jin of divine crystals and some natural treasures. "I hope Uncle Yin can kindly accept it and spare us." The middle-aged man narrowed his eyes and looked at this scene. He nodded slightly. "Oh, if you know your mistake and can change, you can still live." He looked at the storage ring again and held it with 2 fingers. He probed his soul spirit into the ring and smiled. "Young Master Tongue, you can rise." "Thank you, Uncle Yin." Ting Shan and the others felt as if they had been pardoned. They quickly stood up and heaved a sigh of relief. Then they turned their heads and looked in the direction where the masked woman and Lin Xian were, and sneered. "Let's see how you will die later. Damn, you really kowtowed and apologized?" This was 2F** King Spineless. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. "I can't believe I am drinking tea and chatting with you. How unlucky." As he spoke, he kept spitting saliva. "Hey, what do you guys plan to do?" The little maid looked at Lin Xian and the others. She realized that Lin Xian didn't seem to care at all. Other than the North Beast, who looked gloomy and serious, the other 2 didn't seem to care at all. Especially this dragon, who was basically provoking and ridiculing them. The other man, Lin Xian, sat there with a calm expression. He didn't seem to care at all. Was he pretending, or was he scared out of his wits? "What should I do? What should I do? If they don't offend me, I won't offend them. If they dare to attack, I will fight back. At most, I will destroy the Yun clan." Lin Xian drank a mouthful of spirit tea and said indifferently. When the others heard this, they were stunned. Destroy the Yun clan? Damn it, he dares to say this? Who is this kid? Is he crazy? On the other side, Yang Tai sneered. Ting Shan was also scared. Fortunately, he kowtowed and apologized early. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to escape. He didn't expect this kid to be such an idiot. Even the masked woman and the others were stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to say such arrogant words. Where did he get his confidence from? They weren't afraid because they were strong. That was why they weren't afraid. What was the source of his confidence? 3 people of the first sky. Even if they were strong, how strong could they be? Could it be that he was also a young master of a big clan? Did he hide his identity before? Chapter 3552. Kid, how dare you provoke the Yun family? You're courting death. The people in the distance roared furiously. However, they didn't dare to make a move. The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon's performance had shocked them. They could only wait for the experts from their families to arrive. Who's the one who doesn't put the Yun family in their eyes? At this moment, a cold shout came from outside the North Gazing Restaurant. Immediately, the middle-aged deacon and the others were overjoyed. Great, someone from the family had come. They looked at Lin Xian and revealed a sinister smile. Kid, let's see how you're going to die later. There was a commotion on the lower floors. Then, many people came up the stairs. These people's auras were very powerful. They were all sages. The laws on their bodies revolved between heaven and earth. Young Master Yin, you actually came personally. The middle-aged man had a high and mighty look in front of Yang Tai and Ting Shan. But now, when he saw the young man in front of him, he immediately became humble and walked over like a dog. This was because the person in front of him was the young master of his family. He was his master. Young Master Yin was here too. Yang Tai took a deep breath. Tung Shan's scalp went numb. Fortunately, he had kowtowed and admitted his mistake. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to imagine what would happen to him. It was the young master of the Yun family. The surrounding people were discussing animatedly. Lin Xian and the others turned to look. The masked woman and her group also looked over. In the next moment, they were stunned. They didn't know who young Master Yin was, but they felt a familiar aura from the person beside him. The laws that he cultivated were very similar to those of Sky Thunder City. Could he be from Sky Thunder City? That's right, he was from Sky Thunder City. At this moment, an old man at the back said in a deep voice. He was a late-stage, third heaven sage. He was the strongest in the group, so he recognized the other party's identity at a glance. Hearing this, the woman frowned and put on a few more layers of veil. It seemed like she wanted to hide her identity better, afraid that the other party would recognize her. This scene surprised Lin Xian. What was going on? Could it be that this woman knew the other party and didn't want to be recognized? He felt that this masked woman was full of mysteries. Up ahead, young Master Yin looked around and saw the veiled woman. Young Master Gao also saw her, and his eyes began to shine. However, the veil on her body actually blocked his soul probing. Therefore, he could not see what the other party looked like at all. However, the other party's eyes and the graceful aura on her body made his heart flutter. Before he could say anything, the middle-aged deacon beside him said, respectfully, "Young Master Yin, it's that brat. Those fellows actually dared to provoke our Yun family. They even beat up our men. Young Master Yin, you must punish them properly." Humph! Young Master Yin turned his gaze over. Young Master Gao, who was beside him, also glanced at him. Then he didn't care at all. In fact, his heart was filled with disdain. 3 people at the first celestial layer were just ants. There was no need to care about them. Young Master Yin's eyes were also filled with disdain. You guys can't even handle 3 first celestial layer ants? What a bunch of trash. The middle-aged man was shocked and quickly knelt on the ground. Young Master Yin, don't blame me. The 3 of them are too strange. They don't seem to be ordinary first celestial layer saints. Humph! What's so special about them? Get a second celestial layer saint to go up and capture them. I want them to suffer a fate worse than death. Behind them, a saint walked up with a strong aura. Damn it, do you want to fight? Ben Huang will definitely tear you to pieces. The crimson dragon jumped out. The North Demon's expression was also serious. Lin Xian didn't care at all. He shook the teacup in his hand and said calmly, "Oh, you dare to fight me?" As soon as he said that, the people on the 9th floor were speechless. This kid was too awesome. He was still so calm in front of young Master Yin. He even dared to threaten him. Young Master Yin also laughed. "Who do you think you are? How dare you threaten me? Kid, which family are you from? Don't think that you can show off in your world. On Cerulean Moon, I'm the king. You have to kneel in front of me. Do you understand? I'm afraid you don't have the ability to make me kneel." Lin Xian stood up. Immediately, the people beside young Master Yin had cold expressions. They emitted biting cold, killing intent and locked onto him. However, he didn't care. He took a step forward and directly arrived in front of young Master Yin. The distance between the 2 of them was very close. At that moment, Lin Xian's voice sounded again. "Those who oppose me don't have a good ending. They either have their souls destroyed or their families destroyed. Even if they're lucky, they'll have to go into seclusion for hundreds of years. Are you sure you want to be my enemy? Who is this kid?" How dare he talk so big? That's right. Even the Yun family isn't so arrogant. Young Master Yun sneered. Men, capture him. I want to see how he can be arrogant in front of me. The second celestial layer saint attacked. A hand of law grabbed at Lin Xian. However, it stopped 1 meter away from Lin Xian. It couldn't move forward at all. That scene caused everyone's expression to change. The second celestial layer saint's expression changed drastically. He roared angrily, and the power of law danced around his body as he exerted all his strength. However, he couldn't move forward 1 centimeter. This scene caused him to be terrified. Oh no, this young man seems to be an extraordinary person. Young Master Yun's eyelids twitched. He asked again, "Who are you?" Although he was shocked, he was not afraid. He had brought many second celestial layer saints with him. Even if one of them couldn't defeat the other party, a group of them would definitely kill him. My name is Lin Xian. Lin Xian? Young Master Yin was stunned. He had never heard of that name. However, in the next moment, he was stunned. That was because he heard the other party's voice transmission. I have another name, Lin Wudi. What? Lin Wudi. Young Master Yun's body trembled, and a look of shock appeared in his eyes. The other party is the rumored Lin Wudi? That's impossible. After the shock, he shook his head in disbelief. However, in the next moment, he saw the other party's golden eyes. Through those golden eyes, he saw an image. It was an image of Lin Xian leading the Langistar to attack the 6 major sections. In that battle, countless powerhouses of the 6 major sects fell and were forced to seal their mountains for 500 years. The scene of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood made young Master Yun kneel on the ground. Cold sweat soaked the ground. His kneeling stunned everyone on the 9th floor. What's going on? Young Master Yin actually knelt. Moreover, he was kneeling to an unfamiliar young man. That was unbelievable. The people of the Yun family were also stunned. Even young Master Gao was stunned. Get up, young Master Yin. What's wrong with you? The surrounding saints roared crazily. Some of them even stared at Lin Xian. Damn brat, you actually dared to plot against young Master Yin. Die. In an instant, 3 second celestial layer saints attacked. Chapter 3553. Damn it, stop right there. At that moment, young Master Yun roared. Hearing this voice, the 3 second heaven saints all stopped in midair. They felt their bodies stiffen and their eyes were filled with doubt. Why won't you let us kill him? That's right. Could it be that you're under an illusion and are being controlled by him? These people roared crazily. They did not believe that their young master would kneel to the other party. Damn kid! What kind of sorcery did you cast on our young master? Undo it! Let our young master go, kneel, and accept your death. Otherwise, I'll let you know what regret is. They quickly surrounded Lin Xian, their eyes filled with cold, murderous intent. However, young Master Yin remained kneeling on the ground and shouted coldly, "Do you want me to die? He's Lin Wudi." What? Lin Wudi? The sages were stunned. The next moment, their eyes widened and their bodies trembled. Lin Wudi? The legendary Lin Wudi? At that moment, they were terrified. Many of their knees went weak, and they almost knelt on the ground. On the 9th floor, the others were also in an uproar. They looked at Lin Xian in shock. He's the legendary Lin Wudi? He's even younger than the rumors say. Cries of surprise rang out one after another. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Even the masked woman's group looked at Lin Xian with great curiosity. Is this person famous? Young Master Gao looked at Lin Xian with a cold smile. Lin Wudi, the legendary peerless genius of the first astral realm? It seems that he's just SOO. How strong can a first heaven sage be? It seems that the rumors are exaggerated and cannot be trusted. Indeed, there are no geniuses in this astral realm. They're all trash." His eyes were filled with disdain. On the other hand, the Yun family members were scared out of their wits. How dare they fight Lin Wuti? What a joke! What happened to anyone who offended Lin Wuti? The great demon was killed. Yan Nanshan's fate was unknown. As for the 6 major sects, how many sages and geniuses were killed? They had been in seclusion for 500 years. Although the Yun family was strong, could they be stronger than the 6 great sects? Even the 6 great sects were no match for him. If they provoked Lin Wuti, their families would probably be destroyed. Thinking of this, these people were terrified. On the other side, Yang Taiting and Tung Shan were completely stunned. They didn't know Lin Xian before, but they had heard the name Lin Wuti many times. There were legends about Lin Wuti everywhere. Now, they didn't expect this legendary person to be right in front of them. Previously, they had even ridiculed the other party. They were simply courting death. Thinking of this, the 2 of them went limp and fell to their knees with a plop, trembling nonstop. In an instant, all of the saints fell to their knees. Impossible. Damn it. How is this possible? How could he be Lin Wuti? Tung Shan was astonished. He couldn't believe it. Even Yang Tai was stunned. They had Lin Wuti by their side. Did they still need to apologize? What a joke. Especially Tung Shan, he regretted it. If only he had a little bit of backbone back then. He could have waited for Lin Xian to reveal his identity. Then he could have enjoyed the Yun family kneeling to him. He wouldn't have kneeled to the Yun family in advance. This made him lose all his face. He couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. He glanced around and said calmly, "Now no one dares to make a move, right?" The entire place was silent. Indeed, no one dared to make a move. Who would dare to make a move? The 6 great sects were the same. Isn't this too cool? The Crimson Dragon and the North Demon's eyes widened. They thought that Lin Xian would be fierce and kill everyone, but they didn't expect that just by saying his name, he could intimidate a group of saints. This scene was too cool. Humph! What Lin Wuti? A bunch of ignorant ants. Who in this world dares to call themselves invincible? At that instant, a cold laugh was heard, breaking the silence of the 9th city. Everyone's scalps went numb. They couldn't believe it. Who was that? Did he want to die by provoking Lin Wuti? In the next moment, they saw that the person who spoke was a young man beside young Master Yin. This young man looked arrogant. His clothes were luxurious, and he was carrying weapons. They had never heard of him before. This person's identity wasn't simple. Previously, they thought that he was from the Yun family, but now it seemed like he wasn't. Even young Master Yin had knelt down, but this person still dared to provoke him. "Young Master Gao, you?" Young Master Yin was stunned. He didn't expect the other party to refute him. Under normal circumstances, he would definitely hug the legs of Sky Thunder City. He would let young Master Gao and Lin Wuti fight. But Lin Wuti's reputation was too strong. The Yun family didn't dare to take the risk. Hence, they knelt down. Young Master Gao's identity was obviously not ordinary. He said, "What kind of invincible are you? How dare you be arrogant in front of me? I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and lick my shoes. Then I'll consider leaving your corpse intact. Otherwise, I'll chop you into pieces. Who do you think you are?" Lin Xian frowned. Then he looked at young Master Yin. "You're from the Yun family. How dare you provoke me? Do you want to wipe out your family?" Hearing this, young Master Yin's scalp went numb. The sages behind him were also trembling. They quickly explained, "No, he's not from the Yun family. This was young Master Gao from the 2nd astral realm. He was from Sky Thunder City." "What? He's from the 2nd astral realm." The crowd was in an uproar. No wonder he dared to go against Lin Wuti. He's from the 2nd astral realm. The Sky Thunder City was definitely an extremely terrifying power. Most likely, no one here could be compared to them. No wonder they were so arrogant. They finally knew where they got their strength from. Among them, the masked lady and the rest sighed. They were right. Lin Xian smiled. Sky Thunder City? If they were from other saint cities, he might consider it. But Sky Thunder City? He didn't need to consider it. Previously, he had killed 2 people from Sky Thunder City. One was a genius, and the other was a level 4 sage. Therefore, when he met someone from Sky Thunder City, he instantly smiled. Damn brat, what are you smiling at? Are you looking down on Sky Thunder City? Young Master Gao was instantly enraged. Lin Xian's smile was obviously malicious. He couldn't accept that Lin Xian dared to look down on him. Humph, I'm laughing at you for being reckless. Sky Thunder City, do you still dare to be arrogant in front of me? As he spoke, the bones on Lin Xian's face changed. Suddenly, a face appeared. When young Master Gao saw that face, he was scared out of his wits. Damn it, it's you. His eyes almost popped out. He was too familiar with that face. It was this face that had killed Lei Qinzhong and a 4th layer sage. How could he forget it? That was the nightmare of Sky Thunder City. It's you. He really didn't expect that the ruthless person was the young man in front of him. Chapter 3554. Run. Young Master Gao tore the void apart and fled without another word. Everyone on the 9th floor was stunned. Heavens, he actually escaped. How was that possible? Even young Master Yun and the rest were shocked. Although they had guessed that young Master Gao wouldn't dare to fight Lin Wudi, they didn't expect it to be like this. Lin Wudi actually escaped, running away without a fight. Was the difference between them really that big? At this moment, everyone was shocked. The geniuses of the 2nd Astral Realm and Sky Thunder City couldn't stop Lin Wudi's footsteps. Even the masked woman and the rest were stunned. Lin Wudi really had such power? But why hadn't they heard of him before? Humph! Lin Xian looked at young Master Gao running away and snorted coldly. With his strength and speed, he should have already escaped far away. He might even be about to escape from this world. However, he didn't care. He opened his Tianji divine eye and it transformed into a bow. The dragon-shaped sword Qi turned into an arrow and flew out, piercing through the void. Outer realm. Young Master Gao heaved a sigh of relief. He had already reached the edge of this world. Soon he would leave this world. Damn it, it was too dangerous. It was actually that ruthless person. He had to report this to the Holy City and let the experts kill him. However, just as he finished thinking, an arrow pierced through his body. Then his body shattered into pieces. Ah! Young Master Gao screamed in fright. His broken body quickly fled, disappearing into the void. He was really shocked. Lin Wudi could injure him so easily from so far away. This was heaven-defying. Lin Xian's simple move made the Yun family kneel and young Master Gao run away. This move stunned everyone. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and called the Crimson Dragon and the Northern Devil. The 3 of them learned about the fog ship from young Master Yun and then prepared to leave. After Lin Wudi left, the 9th floor heaved a sigh of relief. The Yun family felt as if they had been pardoned. At the same time, they were surprised that Lin Wudi was going to take the fog ship. It seemed like he was going to the 2nd Astral Realm. That ruthless person was finally going to leave the 1st Astral Realm. They didn't know what kind of huge waves he would cause in the 2nd Astral Realm. On the other side, the masked woman and her group also left quietly. Not long after they left, a young man with a pale face walked up the north-gazing tower. He sensed the aura around him, and a cold, killing intent appeared in his eyes. I can feel your aura. You just left. You can't escape. Red flames danced in his long and narrow eyes, as if there was a huge vermilion bird phantom. He instantly tore open the void and disappeared as well. The bewilderment fog ship was at the other end of the world. When Lin Xian and the others arrived, they felt a gust of sea breeze. The sea breeze was extremely cold. When it hit their bodies, it felt like a knife was cutting them. The storm seemed to be even more terrifying than the astral winds. Lin Xian and the others were shocked. This should be the sea breeze blowing from the chaotic star ocean, and this was only the seaside. This storm was already so terrifying. From this, one could imagine how terrifying the storms in the chaotic star sea were. No wonder ordinary saints didn't dare to go to the scattered star seas. They also saw the so-called fog and the dark red divine dragon. They all sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn it, is this a ship? It's practically an island. That's right. Lin Xian was also shocked. They thought that the bewilderment fog ship was something like the spiritual state, but now it seemed that it wasn't. There were many islands floating in the sky, and they were huge. Moreover, there were cities, pavilions, and even mountains, forests, waterfalls, and springs on the island. Everything was there. Was this the bewilderment fog ship? They weren't sure. After asking around, they learned that it was indeed the bewilderment fog ship. It turned out that to go to the chaotic star seas, especially to fight against the death fog, one needed chaos chi. These islands contained chaos soil, therefore it could lead to the death fog. Otherwise, other spirit ships wouldn't be able to pass through, unless those people brought along chaos soil alone. However, chaos soil was very precious, and ordinary people couldn't get it. Although these 5 bewilderment fog ships were on the Blue Moon planet, the forces and masters behind them were all from the second astral realm. This time, there were a total of 13 bewilderment fog ships heading to the second astral realm, and 5 had already left. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the ship closest to him. This bewilderment fog ship was called the Milky Way because one could clearly see a Milky Way running through the entire huge island. Lin Xian and the others inquired about it. Just the boarding fee alone required 10,000 caddies of divine crystals per person. It could be said that it was very extraordinary. It was really a profiteering industry. This time, just this ship alone could accommodate millions of people. This wasn't the kind of situation where people would sit next to each other. Instead, everyone had their own cave abodes, and they were very far away from each other. There were even some top-grade places where no one was allowed to enter. Even so, it could still accommodate millions of people. One could imagine how big this island was. Just the boarding fee for this trip alone would be an astonishing figure. Moreover, this was just boarding the ship. The various expenses on it were even more astonishing. It could be said that without status and background, one wouldn't dare to board these islands. Lin Xian and the other 2 paid the boarding fee and went up. After going up, they sensed that there were actually supreme grade spirit veins intersecting. There were a total of 8 of them. The closer the palace to the supreme grade spirit vein, the more expensive it was. Lin Xian and the others didn't need to chase after supreme grade spirit veins because they had cultivation resources in their hands. Therefore, they found some ordinary palaces to stay in. Not long after Lin Xian went up, the masked lady and the others arrived. When the maidservant saw the Milky Way ship, her eyes lit up. "Miss, it's the Milky Way ship. We are in luck. If it's the Milky Way ship, then we can completely relax." The other guards also heaved a sigh of relief. Although the Milky Way ship wasn't controlled by their family, it was still under the banner of their ally. Therefore, the group of people walked up quickly. The masked lady took out a token, and the guards on the ship immediately reported it. Not long after, an old man flew down from the Milky Way ship and greeted them respectfully. It was Fairy Rain. "Greetings, Fairy Rain. No need for formalities. Keep a low profile and bring us in." "Yes, please, Fairy Rain." The old man personally brought the masked lady and the others up to the island. The people around them were completely stunned. "Tianya, who is this woman?" The old man was an elder on the Milky Way ship and had a very high status. Lan Yuexin and the other family heads of the big families had to be respectful when they met him. Yet, at that moment, the old man was actually acting so respectfully toward a woman. This made them extremely curious. This scene happened to be witnessed by Tangshan, Yongtai, and the others, who had just arrived from behind. Immediately, they gasped in shock. Chapter 35:55. This woman was not simple. In fact, she was extremely complicated. Thinking of this, their faces turned bitter. One of them was Lin Wudi, a peerless genius whose name shook the first astral realm, and the other was a mysterious woman with such a noble status. As for him, he was also extremely arrogant and did not take anything seriously. However, in just a few short days, his confidence was completely shattered. So for a moment, he stood in front of the Milky Way, and his expression changed incomparably. This time, was there a need for him to go? Blue moon, in a dark hall, the mysterious man was still shaking the wine glass in his hand. In front of him, the warrior who left returned once again and knelt on one knee on the ground. "Young master, they have already boarded the ship." "Oh, which one is it?" "The Milky Way." "The Milky Way?" It seemed that his luck was not bad. However, it was still useless. Even if he boarded the Milky Way, he could not save her fate. The mysterious man drank the spirit wine in his hand and then stood up. She was already in the net. It was time to make a move. "You Shurchia, you can escape from our grasp." The Milky Way. There were more and more people on the ship, and it had already exceeded 2 million. At this time, the pale man who seemed to be sick also came. He felt for a while, and a flame appeared in his eyes again. She came here? It seemed that she wanted to leave. Well, I'll deal with her on the way. He also paid 10,000 caddies of divine crystals and then boarded the island. When it reached 3 million people, an array formation was set up around the Milky Way, and no one was allowed to board the ship. Next, the huge island slowly flew into the distance. Not long after, it completely left Blue Moon and entered the universe. Whoosh! On the island, everyone looked around curiously because it was the first time most of them boarded the Milky Way, and it was also their first time going to the second astral realm. So they were very curious about what the legendary Scattered Star Sea was like. They had not seen the Scattered Star Sea yet, but they first felt a huge storm blowing from all directions. The wind blew on their bodies, making a thunderous sound. Soon, the array formation around them completely flickered and blocked the storm, but it did not completely eliminate it. Feeling the sea breeze of the Scattered Star Sea was also unique. What a terrifying sea breeze! Was that the Scattered Star Sea? Heavens, this disarray star ocean is too big, isn't it? Those worlds and planets are actually like islands. Exclamations of surprise could be heard. The surrounding people all saw that they had already entered the chaotic star ocean. Light flickered all around them. They were worlds of various sizes, but compared to the Scattered Star Seas, they really did seem like islands. The Scattered Star Seas was truly too vast. Flying alone was simply courting death. Compared to heaven and earth, humans were truly too insignificant. Looking at the strange scenery of the sea, the North Demon sighed with emotion. The Crimson Dragon said from the side, "Not only humans, but a world is also much smaller than the universe. The two of you don't be discouraged. Although we seem very insignificant now, we can still shine brightly without a future. The primeval emperors could suppress the entire universe by themselves. At that level, the disarray star sea was just a puddle of water in his palm." Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. "That's right, we have to advance towards the path of the primeval emperors." The North Demon and the Crimson Dragon also took a deep breath. Oh my! 3 people at the first heaven were actually fantasizing about the primeval emperors here. What a fantasy! What a joke! They were courting death. At that moment, a disdainful voice was heard. Lin Xian frowned. He turned around and saw a group of people walking over arrogantly. The one who spoke was a man. He was sitting on the back of a majestic demonic wolf. The demonic wolf had actually reached the Saint Realm. That was the howling moon demon wolf. It was extremely terrifying and powerful. An ordinary first heaven sage was no match for it at all. At that moment, it was being used as a mount. This man's identity was not ordinary. That person revealed a disdainful smile, and then left. Damn it, I really want to kill them. What's there to be arrogant about riding a stupid wolf? The dark rainbow dragon was unhappy. The north demon said, forget it. How can a sparrow know the ambitions of a swan? There's no need to get into a conflict with them. In the following days, they began to familiarize themselves with the island. They had to admit that the island was very magical. They also saw the Milky Way that shuttled through the island. They could feel the powerful aura of the Milky Way and were very emotional. At night, Lin Xian stood on the Milky Way and looked at the scattered star ocean in the distance. Looking at the night scenery, he was even more emotional. This was very useful for him to understand the great path of heaven and earth, especially after experiencing the vastness of the scattered star ocean. Although the Milky Way was very big, it was not slow at all. It was almost twice as fast as the spirit ship that Lin Xian and the others were on. Even so, it would still take a year to reach the second astral realm. It seemed that they would have to spend this year on the island. However, just 10 days later, something happened. That night, suddenly the Milky Way shook violently. Everyone was awakened by the shaking. They walked out of the palace with puzzled faces. What's going on? Is the Milky Way under attack? The sages who were meditating outside opened their eyes one after another. Their faces were filled with confusion. They had no idea what was going on. They only saw monstrous waves in the distance that could swallow an entire world. In the center of the island, where the Milky Way surrounded, there was a palace. That was the best control hall for the Milky Way. That was where the person in charge of the ship lived. At this moment, the powerhouses and sages in the main hall were also awakened. Through the array formation, they looked at the scene outside and soon frowned. It shouldn't be. We have deduced that there shouldn't be such a powerful storm these days. Moreover, our route has been planned. There shouldn't be such a violent storm. 2 old men were holding the 8 trigrams, their expressions uncertain. The others were also discussing. What happened? Did someone attack us? Impossible. They didn't sense anyone's aura. Some people were also holding light balls and frowning. Suddenly, someone exclaimed and pointed at the array formation light screen. His face became extremely pale. Look, what's that? Everyone turned their heads and looked. The next moment they gasped, because they saw a huge black tentacle on the light screen. It slapped the sea and stirred up waves that could swallow the world. The Doomsday Octopus. Heavens, why is that thing here? In the Milky Way, those people were completely stunned. They hurriedly activated all the arrays and let everyone in. Also, change the route and avoid the Doomsday Octopus. It shouldn't be attacking us. It's just passing by. We still have a chance of survival. These people moved quickly. On the island, everyone was completely stunned. Even Lin Xian and the others had expressions of astonishment on their faces. Chapter 3556. They also saw a huge tentacle that blotted out the sky and covered thousands of miles. It fell from the sky and hit the nearby seawater. The waves created by the explosion engulfed the entire island. Everyone retreated in fright. But at this time, the entire island was incomparably bright and directly sealed the island. The seawater hit the array and then quickly flowed away. At the same time, a loud voice sounded between heaven and earth. Everyone listen up. Immediately enter the palace. We will activate the array. Hearing this, everyone moved. They turned into a stream of light and flew to their own palace. During this time, some experienced people also said to leave quickly. This is the Doomsday Octopus and it's very terrifying. What? Doomsday Octopus? That's a terrifying existence that can destroy a world. It's definitely a heaven-defying monster. Countless screams sounded, and the Crimson Dragon also gasped. At this time, the Elder on the Milky Way spoke again. Everyone, don't panic. Although it's the Doomsday Octopus, it's not attacking us. I think it's just passing by. We will quickly change our course." With that, everyone could clearly feel that the Milky Way was changing its direction. Lin Xian looked at the huge octopus and was also shocked. If there was no array on the Milky Way, it would be absolutely difficult to escape from this Doomsday Octopus. Even a minor saint wouldn't be able to escape, right? "Kid, don't just stand there, hurry up and leave." The Crimson Dragon called out. Lin Xian said, "It shouldn't be a problem. I want to feel the power of this Doomsday Octopus up close." Well, if they stayed here, they would be able to see the huge figure outside. Every attack was incomparably terrifying. The Milky Way flew for 4 hours before completely shaking off the Doomsday Octopus. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It's too terrifying. This scene touched Lin Xian a lot. Next, he began to cultivate and comprehend the Great Tao. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. On this day, Lin Xian and the others came out again. They heard that the blue sky flower on the Milky Way had bloomed, and many people went to see it. Bailuo, which meant blue sky. Rumor has it that it was an extremely rare elixir compared to the Bailuo flower. Who would have thought that there would be one on the Milky Way? At the foot of the mountain, there was a small valley. Inside the valley, there were some jade fall flowers. It was abnormally ethereal. It was as dazzling as the blue sky. What was even more shocking was that there was a woman standing near the falling jade flower, a woman with a veil on her face. That woman was so beautiful. Yes, although I couldn't see her face clearly, I felt that she was very enchanting. "Get out of the way." A loud voice rang out. Following that, a huge force surged forward, pushing back the people in front. Those who came here were either saints or geniuses. They were naturally furious that they had been forced to retreat. Their bodies were surrounded by nomological laws, and a powerful force suppressed the surroundings. But soon they cried out in surprise. An even more terrifying power swept over, forcing them to retreat. Who was it? They all turned their heads. They saw a gigantic howling moon demon wolf appear before them. The demon wolf was tall and terrifying. Its demonic aura surged into the sky, and on the howling moon demon wolf, there was a man sitting cross-legged. His face was arrogant. There were some saints walking around him. They were obviously guardians. It was someone from the Yu family. It was young Master Yu. Many people cried out in surprise. When they heard this name, they all stepped aside to make a path. Young Master Yu sat on the demon wolf and walked forward with a cold smile. He was also here to see the Bai Luo flower. However, when he saw a beautiful figure standing beside the Bai Luo flower, his eyes immediately lit up. There was a beauty. He jumped off the demon wolf and walked forward. He didn't expect that it was fate that he could meet such a beauty here. "How should I address you?" "Young master," Yu went forward to curry favor. Yu Shichia's eyes flickered as if she was in a daze. When she saw someone walking over, she frowned slightly. To be honest, since she was already on the Milky Way, she could completely relax. Therefore, if someone dared to curry favor with her, she would have directly scolded them. But now she didn't. 2 days ago, she was tidying up her storage ring and found her necklace. She had been carrying this necklace with her all this time. However, when she met Lin Xian, she was told to sell or throw it away. At that time, Yu Shichia didn't care. However, when she found out about Lin Xian's identity and strength, she was shocked. He must have had other intentions. Therefore, they studied it carefully and found a problem with the necklace. It turned out that there was a formation on the necklace. It was a tracking formation that could lock onto her position. She immediately destroyed the necklace and checked everyone's body, as well as the things that everyone was carrying. Although she didn't find the tracking formation, their expressions were obviously not good, especially Yu Shichia. She knew that she was being followed. Moreover, it was almost a month after she stepped onto the Milky Way that she realized it. Damn it, who was following her? That person must have also boarded the Milky Way. Therefore, she couldn't be careless. Because Yu Shirchia's bloodline was very special, many people had ideas about her. Because of this idea of keeping a low profile, she didn't chase this Suryu away. Otherwise, she might have killed him with a slap. Seeing that the beauty didn't reject him, this Suryu was even more proud and began to show off. In the valley, the others were chased away. Get lost. Our Sir is here to admire the flowers. Everyone else get lost. Many people were forced to retreat. Some of the stronger ones were still able to stay, but they were very far away. The howling moon demon wolf sat at the entrance of the valley, its powerful body suppressing the area. The Yu family was very strong. This time they had brought many saints, so ordinary people didn't dare to provoke them. The valley in front should be the falling flowers. Lin Xian and the others also walked over. There were many people outside the valley. It seemed that many people were admiring the flowers. However, when they arrived, they found that something was wrong. These people were only outside and didn't dare to go in. Looking carefully, they found that there was a demon wolf at the entrance of the valley. No wonder the others didn't dare to go in. The demon wolf was blocking the entrance. Moreover, it seemed that these people's identities weren't simple. Kid, what should we do? The Crimson Dragon looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "What can we do? We're here to admire the flowers. No one is allowed to stand in our way." Previously, the other party had mocked them. At that time, Lin Xian didn't care. How could a sparrow know the ambitions of a swan? So he didn't care. Now, he didn't expect the other party to be so arrogant. They directly blocked the path and didn't let others admire the flowers. This was unbearable, so Lin Xian and the others strode forward. Chapter 35:57. That brat actually went up. Many people exclaimed. 3 first firmament people. Didn't they know the immensity of heaven and earth? That's right. Not to mention whether they could beat the howling moon demon wolf or not. Even if they could, would they dare to make a move? Reckless. Someone sneered. Of course, there were also people who kindly reminded. The 3 of you must not go over. That's the Yu family. Don't you see that ordinary second firmament saints don't dare to go against them? The 3 of you shouldn't go over and court death. Regarding the discussions of the surrounding people, Lin Xian and the rest did not care at all, walking forward in large strides. Very soon, they arrived at the front of the valley. In front of the valley, the howling moon demon wolf raised its huge head, looking at Lin Xian and the rest, its eyes filled with deep disdain. 3 ants scram. It spoke in human language, its voice like thunder. The surrounding people shook their heads and sighed. These 3 people were really too reckless. They already reminded it that that was the young master of the Yu family, and the other party actually still dared to go up. Looks like there should be 3 more corpses. Io, a wolf cub actually dared to be arrogant in front of Ben Huang. Who gave you the guts? The Crimson Dragon sneered and directly roared. Dragon blood surged, instantly enveloping the howling moon demon wolf. The howling moon demon wolf originally wanted to show its might and get rid of the 3 ants. But in the next instant, it was enveloped by this aura, instantly frightened until its entire body turned cold, directly prostrating on the ground. This shocking scene left everyone dumbfounded. What was the situation? The howling moon demon wolf was actually prostrating on the ground. It shouldn't be. One had to know that this was young Master Yu's mount. Normally, it would not even put second firmament saints in its eyes when it encountered them. It could be said that it was used to flaunting its might. At this moment, why was it prostrating in front of 3 first firmament saints? They had yet to figure it out when they saw Lin Xian walk up and kick the howling moon demon wolf, sending it flying. The howling moon demon wolf cried out miserably. Its body was like a shooting star, crashing into the valley. Damn! Everyone sucked in a cold breath. Who was this person? So fierce. Even though the Howling Moon Demon Wolf was not big in size, it was still a rare breed after all. The strength of its body was absolutely terrifying. Ordinary saints of the same level would not be able to break through his defense at all. But now, there was actually someone who could send him flying with a kick. This young man was incredible. Someone sneered. He dared to hate young Master Yu's mount. He was dead meat. Offending the Yu family, he reckoned that he would not be able to walk out of this valley alive. Boom! An earthquake came from the valley. The Howling Moon Demon Wolf crashed into the ground, causing countless cracks to appear on the ground. Miserable cries could be heard, and the valley was in a state of chaos. Clearly, the people in the valley did not expect such a scene. Young Master Yu was also stunned. His mind was blank. What was going on? His mount had been sent flying by someone. Furthermore, he was severely injured. In the next moment, he screamed, "Damn it, who is it? Who dares to attack my mount? Get over here and accept your death." The others also looked at each other. It seemed like there was going to be a good show to watch. Where did this dog come from? How dare he block our way? A faint voice came from outside the valley. Then Lin Xian and the other two walked over. "Damn it, it's you guys." Young Master Yu saw Lin Xian at a glance. His face immediately turned completely gloomy. "It was you guys who attacked my mount?" His eyes surfaced with a piercing, killing intent. Regarding these three people, he still had an impression, because a few days ago he had once met these three people. At that time, these three people were still yearning to become great ancient emperors. He mocked them in disdain. 3 first firmament ants, daydreaming like this. What fools! It was just that he did not expect that today these three people were actually so daring to injure his mount. No matter what, he would not let these three people off. "The three of you kneel down and kowtow to my mount to apologize. I can give you guys an intact corpse." Regarding this kind of threat, Lin Xian did not care in the slightest. "You better apologize to me obediently first, then bring your people and get out of this valley. Don't disturb my mood of admiring flowers. Otherwise, your outcome will be very miserable." Threatening me? Young Master Yu was stunned. Everyone in the surroundings was stunned. They had not seen such a scene for many years already. Someone actually dared to threaten young Master Yu. Was he tired of living? Young Master Yu was so angry that he laughed. "Good lad, it has been many years since anyone dared to say such words to me. You are the first. I will make you pay a painful price. Men, catch him and break his limbs. I will pull out his tendons and skin him. I will train him to be my second mount. This is the consequence of offending me." Hearing young Master Yu's words, the surrounding people were so frightened that their scalps went numb. This was simply a demon. "Yes, young master." 2 sages walked up. One of the sages reached out a large hand and grabbed Lin Xian. His expression was incomparably cold and disdainful. "Sai, I already said that I don't want to attack, but you guys don't know what's good for you. I have no choice." Lin Xian shook his head. He did not attack, but the Crimson Dragon and the North Demon beside him attacked. The Crimson Dragon slapped out with his claw. "Damn you! How dare you attack me?" His dragon claw collided with the other party's palm, and the sound of bones breaking could be heard. The laws of heaven and earth were shattered. Screams rang out. The sage's hand was directly shattered. He screamed as he retreated. On the other side, the North Demon also punched and sent the sage who had rushed over flying. In the blink of an eye, 2 of the Yu family sages were injured. No one dared to believe this scene. Young Master Yu's expression darkened. He was incomparably savage. "Damn it, what are you guys doing? Can't you even deal with 3 ants? Just kill them directly. There is no need to hold back." He was winning the heart of the beauty. He had already pretended to be cool. Now, someone actually dared to destroy his noble image. How could he tolerate this? If he couldn't even deal with 2 or 3 ants, what would this masked woman in front of him think of him? Hence, he was furious. The sages under him instantly charged over. 5 sages surrounded Lin Xian and the others. On the other side, Yu Shijie was also shocked. It was him. She also saw Lin Xian. She didn't expect him to also come to admire the flowers. What a coincidence! However, looking at the other party, it seemed like he was in endless trouble. "Oh my, you still dare to attack and kill us?" The Crimson Dragon laughed coldly. "North Demon, the 2 of us don't need to hold back." The 2 of them charged up and stood together with the 5 sages. The battle was extremely intense, but it ended quickly. Sage Wu Zun was beaten up like a dead dog. He fell to the ground and kept screaming. Crimson Shinong and the North Demon stood in the void and laughed coldly. Everyone went crazy. These 2 saints of the first celestial layer were too strong, right? They could actually fight 2 against 5. They simply couldn't believe it. "You guys! Young master, you was scared silly." The sages under him were all sent flying. This was simply too unbelievable. How was it possible? Chapter 3558. Soon he calmed down and sneered. "You have some tricks up your sleeve, but so what? I'm from the Yu family. Do you dare to touch me?" After he finished speaking, he was enveloped by a large golden hand that grabbed him. Lin Xian grabbed him and sneered. "Why, do you think I don't dare to touch you? I was in a good mood the last time you provoked me, and I spared your life. Now you want to kill me. Looks like I have to teach you a lesson on behalf of the Yu family, you good-for-nothing thing. How dare you touch me? Young master!" Yu screamed crazily. He had never encountered such a situation before. However, the answer he got was a slap. With a smack, half of his face was smashed into mush. Why wouldn't I dare? Although Lin Xian didn't say anything, he used his actions to prove his point. After the first slap, there was a second and third slap. Crisp slaps were heard. After young Master Yu's face was smashed, it recovered immediately. However, it was smashed again. This scene was too shocking. Everyone was dumbfounded. That was young Master Yu, the young master of the Yu family. He was high and mighty and looked down on everyone. At this moment, he was being held by the neck and slapped crazily. "Young master!" The surrounding sages screamed again. Their young master was being beaten. They rushed over crazily. However, they were all sent flying by Lin Xian with a slap. Many sages' bodies exploded. Their sage blood danced between heaven and earth. Young Master Yu was dumbfounded. He had hit the nail on the head. The young man in front of him was definitely a heaven-defying genius. Therefore, he quickly begged for mercy. "Hero, please spare my life. I was wrong. I'll apologize to you." In the face of death, pride and dignity were all useless. No matter how arrogant young Master Yu was before, he had no choice but to bow to Ling Xian now. "Oh, apologize? How are you going to compensate me?" Lin Xian stopped. Seeing that he was no longer being beaten, young Master Yu heaved a sigh of relief. He said, "I was wrong today. I offended the hero. I'll compensate you. I'll give you 10,000 caddies of divine crystals. How about that? 10,000 caddies? Do you think I'm a beggar?" The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. The boarding fee was 10,000 caddies of divinity crystals, which was not enough at all. "Then I'll give you 50,000 kilograms. Young Master gritted his teeth. 50,000 was already a lot. Many people were moved. It seemed like young Master Yu was really going to beg for mercy. However, Lin Xian waved his hand. 500,000, and I'll spare your life." "What? 500,000 caddies?" Young Master Yu screamed. "This is robbery. One must know that back when he bought the 3,000 ancestral green gold, he had only spent 50,000 jin. Now that he had 500,000 jin, how many precious metals and materials could he buy? It was definitely enough to make those sages go crazy. Sure enough, the eyes of the surrounding people instantly turned red. They couldn't believe that this kid was asking for too much. What? The dignified Yu family's young master could not even take out 500,000 caddies of divine crystals? What a disappointment. In that case, I can only continue to educate you. With that, Lin Xian raised his golden hand. Seeing this scene, young Master Yu was so frightened that he trembled. He was about to cry. He was not willing to be slapped in the face in public again. Moreover, he was unable to resist at all. However, he really wasn't willing to take out 500,000 caddies of divine crystals. Therefore, he cried and said, "Hero, I didn't bring so many divine crystals with me when I came out. Why don't you let me go, and I'll gather some?" He was obviously trying to escape. How could Lin Xian not understand? He said with a smile, "You didn't bring so many with you, right?" As he said that, he waved his hand. A biting cold sword light, accompanied by the law, flew out. It directly split the howling moon demon wolf beside him into two halves. The howling moon demon wolf screamed, and its body twitched. Its soul was directly destroyed and could not be reborn at all. Everyone was stunned by this scene. What a terrifying method! Young Master Yu was so frightened that he wet his pants. He was so frightened that his whole body was trembling. This person in front of him could destroy the howling moon demon wolf's body and soul with one move. He reckoned that killing him was also a matter of a sword. Thinking of this, his eyes were filled with horror, and he stuttered. "Now, have you brought them all?" Lin Xian asked. "Yes, I've brought them all." Young Master Yu kept nodding. He took off his storage ring and said, "There are about 200,000 caddies of divine crystals in it. The rest are some pills, cultivation technique manuals, natural treasures, and so on. They should be worth 200,000 caddies of divine crystals. I'll get my men to gather the remaining 100,000 caddies." As he said that, he turned his head and looked at the 5 sages. "The 5 of you, quickly hand over your storage rings." "Young Master!" The 5 of them were obviously unwilling. "Damn it, do you want me to die?" "Young Master," Yu roared crazily. Sage Wu Zun had no choice but to throw out his storage ring. Young Master Yu said, "These should be worth 500,000 caddies of divine crystals." Lin Xian threw it to the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon glanced at it and nodded slightly. Lin Xian said, "Don't be too arrogant, especially when you're outside. Your family can't protect you, understand?" "Understood." Young Master Yu nodded desperately, but he was gnashing his teeth in anger. "Damn it, I've completely lost this time." Lin Xian said again, "I'll spare your life this time. But if you dare to provoke me again, I won't hesitate to kill you. I don't care which family you're from." At this point, a cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Young Master Yu was scared out of his wits. He felt like he was surrounded by a sea of blood. What kind of killing intent is this? Who is this guy? Why is he releasing such a terrifying killing intent? The surrounding people were also trembling, their faces filled with fear. "All right, you can get lost now." Lin Xian waved his hand, and Young Master Yu quickly left with his men. This scene made the people inside and outside the valley gasp. They thought that the 3 first celestial stage cultivators would definitely die after offending Young Master Yu. Who would have thought that the unlucky one would be Young Master Yu? Not only was he slapped, but he also had to pay 500,000 caddies of divine crystals. For a moment, everyone was guessing who these 3 people were. Within the crowd, there was a pale man who looked like he was sick. He looked at Lin Xian and smiled coldly. "How dare you be so arrogant? Soon you'll die." Buzz. As if he felt a killing intent, Lin Xian suddenly turned his head and looked behind him. The people behind him were shocked. They didn't retreat. Lin Xian glanced around and frowned. He realized that the killing intent had disappeared. "What's wrong?" the northern demon asked. Lin Xian said, "Someone seemed to be staring at me just now, but the gaze was burning." "Could it be someone from the Yu family?" the Crimson Dragon asked. Lin Xian shook his head. "I'm not sure." He turned his head and looked forward. "Fairy Yu, what a coincidence. You're admiring the flowers too." Yu Shirchia nodded. "Yes, what a coincidence. I met young master again. I have to thank you." "What are you thanking me for?" "It's nothing. I'm not talking about this." Yu Shirchia shook her head. She didn't care about young Master Yu. Chapter 35:59. She said, "I want to thank you for reminding me about the necklace. Have you discovered the secret of the necklace?" Yu Shirchia nodded. She had discovered it, but it was too late. Still, she wanted to thank her. Lin Xian wanted to ask more, but Yu Shirchia didn't seem to be in the mood to admire the flowers. She nodded slightly and left the three of them. After Yu Shirchia left, a man in a black robe in the crowd sneered and disappeared. No one noticed this. On the other side, Lin Xian frowned. It was too late. What did that mean? Could it be that the person who followed Yu Shirchia had already arrived on the Milky Way? He was very confused about this, but he didn't pay much attention to it. Yu Shirchia's status was obviously not ordinary. Even if there was trouble, he didn't need to do anything. Not long after this, an old man walked over. Lin Xian recognized him. He was one of Yu Shirchia's guards. Lin Xian was very surprised by his arrival. The old man's expression was serious as he said in a low voice, "Young Master Lin has met my family's young miss several times. Is it intentional or is it fate?" Lin Xian frowned. What did that mean? Did he suspect him? As expected, the Crimson Dragon snorted. "Old man, you don't know the rules. We're the ones who saved your little big sis, okay? You don't have any gratitude at all. How dare you threaten us? It's not a threat, it's a warning. I hope you can keep a distance from our young miss. This is for your own good. I think you're overthinking. The first time was because of the trip to Blue Moon. The second time was because of the Yun family. The third time, which is this time, is because I'm here to admire the flowers. I'm not here for your Yu family. This is for the best." With that, the old man turned around, tore open the void, and left. Lin Xian frowned slightly, but soon he didn't care. The Crimson Dragon was very angry. Damn it, good intentions were taken as ill intent. Lin Xian waved his hand. Forget it. It was best to keep a distance. They were probably being watched. Let's not get involved in this mess. Let's take care of the flowers. The Jade Fall flower was very beautiful and contained a mysterious aura. It could allow Lin Xian and the others to comprehend the great Tao of heaven and earth. Furthermore, after Lin Xian chased young Master Yu away, there were more and more people in the valley. After a few days, Lin Xian left. On the other side, Fairy Rain returned to her palace. "Elderly, have you looked for Lin Gongzi?" "Yes, I warned him to keep his distance from us. Sis, he was too flamboyant and had offended too many people. Although he was Lin Wudi, he was no longer in the first astral realm. The more people he offends, the more attention he will attract. Now that we are being followed, we shouldn't be too conspicuous. Therefore, it was very wise to keep a distance." Yu Shirchia nodded and didn't say anything. Indeed, she had been feeling uneasy for the past few days. She kept feeling as if there was a pair of eyes staring at her. However, even after searching the entire Milky Way, she still couldn't find who the suspicious person was. Until now, she felt that everyone was suspicious. Therefore, she simply shut herself in. After admiring the sky, falling flowers, Lin Xian and the others also went back. After about 10 days or so, it was lively again. It turned out that some people had teamed up to hold a small banquet. Firstly, it was too boring on the Milky Way. Secondly, there was still a year before they reached the second astral realm. Therefore, it was best for everyone to get together and get to know each other. This banquet was held in a huge palace near the Milky Way. Many young prodigies were preparing to go. After all, they were all going to the second astral realm. When they got there, they would be unfamiliar with the place. Naturally, they would have to stick together. Lin Xian and the others naturally went as well. When they arrived, they found that there were quite a lot of people. He looked around and didn't see the masked woman. It seemed that she didn't come. Next, they found a place. The three of them sat down and waited for the banquet to begin. After the banquet began, Lin Xian felt a little bored because these people were flattering each other and forming cliques. There wasn't much that was really valuable. As for the strength of these people, he glanced at them and shook his head slightly. Among the younger generation, he really didn't think highly of anyone. However, among them, there were two people who surprised him. One of them was a man with a pale face who looked like he was sick. When he saw him, the other party turned his head and didn't look at him. He only saw the side of his face and back, which made him feel very strange, because he felt that he had seen him somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where. The other person was a man in a black robe. He sat there very leisurely and calmly, as if he was a king who ruled over everything. He coldly looked at the entire hall. When Lin Xian looked at him, the other party also looked at him with a shocking light in his eyes. This person was not simple. Lin Xian was astonished. Someone who could pique his interest was definitely a genius of a region. However, he didn't know him, and he had never heard of such a person in any of the major sections. The banquet was quite boring. Lin Xian and the others were about to leave, but at this time someone said loudly, "Everyone, after chatting for so long, why don't I tell you about the second astral realm?" The second astral realm. Hearing this, everyone was interested and walked towards that person. Lin Xian and the others were also stunned. They stopped and sat back down. They originally wanted to leave, but now that there was news about the second astral realm, they might as well stay and listen. The person who spoke was on the Milky Way. He often traveled between the first and second astral realms. Therefore, he knew a little about the second astral realm. Everyone couldn't wait to ask, which sects are the most powerful in the second week? Your question is too broad. The second astral realm is very vast. If you want to ask about the most powerful sects, I really don't know. Actually, I only know a rough idea. Let me tell you this. The most powerful sects in the second astral realm are those who are famous. For example, Peerless City, which is preparing to accept disciples this time, is one of the most famous sections. They have a saint throne. Generally, the top saint cities are like this. One level lower is the Saint Venerable. Although they are not as powerful as the Saint King, they are still extremely terrifying. Saint King and Saint Venerable. Everyone gasped. To them, these were legendary figures. They were like immortals. Then, which sects are the more famous geniuses in the second astral realm? Someone asked again. As soon as this was said, everyone was interested again. Well, I do know a little about this. Listen carefully. The man cleared his throat and looked at the excited and worshipful eyes of the crowd. This feeling of being the center of attention was simply too satisfying. He said that the more famous sect was the Rain Clan. Chapter 3560. The Rain Clan was extremely powerful. They occupied 2-star realms. In the Rain Clan, the most famous geniuses were their princess and young master. The princess of the Rain Clan, Yu Shirchia, was incomparably beautiful and charming. Moreover, her bloodline was very special. It was the most famous 10,000 spirit bloodline in the Rain Clan. The Rain Clan's bloodline was originally very special. Water nourished all living things. Therefore, if one married a member of the Rain Clan and cultivated for a long time, it would have a great effect on one's strength. Therefore, in the Rain Clan, regardless of gender, they were very popular. Especially the disciples of other large clans and sects. They wished they could marry a beauty or a genius of the Rain Clan. Yu Shirchia's 10,000 spirit bloodline was the most powerful one among them. Therefore, the number of people who pursued her could probably circle the planet 3 times. She also had a younger brother who was even more extraordinary. His name was Yu Qinya. He was not old, but his strength was extremely strong. He was already a 3rd heavenly layer saint. The man roughly explained the situation of the Rain clan. Hearing this, the people in the main hall were dumbfounded. Were the women of the Rain clan so mysterious? When they married, they could actually improve themselves and even change their level of life and bloodline. No, wait until I reach the 2nd astral realm. I must find a way to marry a beauty of the Rain clan. The effect of ordinary Rain clan disciples would definitely be weak. Only extremely talented people would have a significant effect. For example, the legendary Yu Shirchia. If I could get her, many people laughed. Idiot. The man in the black robe who looked down on the main hall sneered. Others also said that such a person should not think about it. Unless one was a peerless genius, it would be impossible to get her. As expected, the man who introduced them laughed. You guys don't have any ideas about Yu Shirchia. The experts of the 2nd astral realm are all watching. You guys should cultivate for a few hundred years first. Many people were silent. However, there were also people who refuted. Were the people of the 2nd astral realm really so powerful? Yes, they were indeed very powerful. The 2nd astral realm was divided into 2 types of people. The first type was the native clans and sects of the 2nd astral realm. Think about it, they all have Saint Venerables and Saint Kings. Their inheritance and foundation is not something we can compare to. When these words were spoken, the others also agreed. After all, a small saint had appeared in their astral realm. Saint Venerables were more powerful than small saints, let alone Saint Kings. The second kind of people are geniuses who have stepped onto the ancient path of the starry sky. They're rushing from the 1st star realm to the 2nd star realm, just like you. Although they might not be able to show their talents immediately, they would definitely be able to make a name for themselves in the 2nd astral realm as long as they had the strength and talent to do so. For example, there is a person that you are very familiar with. He has already made a name for himself in the 2nd astral realm. Is it someone from our 1st astral realm? Many people asked. That person smiled. That's right, that was indeed the case. Who was it? The crowd was puzzled. Yanantian? Lin Wudi? This was a person whose name resounded throughout the 1st star realm. However, when they thought about it, it was impossible. The 2 of them had probably never been to the 2nd astral realm. Who was that? They were extremely puzzled. Di Ling, you should be familiar with this person. What? Di Ling, everyone exclaimed. How could they not know this person? This was the first person on the Abyss rankings. Until now, he was still number 1. That's right, Lin Wudi was so powerful. Back then, he was only tied with him for 1st place. Moreover, Lin Wudi was a latecomer. This Di Ling, who knew how many years he had cultivated earlier than him. Now that Lin Wudi was already so powerful, that Di Ling was probably even more terrifying. Was he already so famous in the 2nd astral realm? That's right, Di Ling was very famous. Previously, I told you about Yu Shirchia. You should all know about her, right? In the 2nd astral realm, it was rumored that among the younger generation, only Di Ling was worthy of Yu Shirchia. Was he so powerful? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. At the same time, they were extremely excited. They had to go to the 2nd astral realm and make a name for themselves. After Lin Xian heard this, he was also surprised. Although he had never seen Di Ling before, he had always heard of his legend. Indeed, when he had just stepped onto the ancient path of the starry sky, the other party had already resounded throughout the star realm. At that time, the other party was ranked number 1 on the Abyss rankings. It could be said that the top of his head surpassed everything. He and Yan Nantian only started to make a name for themselves later on. and at that time it was likely that Di Ling had already left this place and went to the second astral realm. Thinking of this, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. It seemed that he would be able to meet this legendary Di Ling for a while in the second astral realm. Humph! What perfect match! It was just nonsense. Right at this moment, a cold snort sounded. Who was it? Everyone cried out in surprise. Could it be that someone else knew the news? The man on the Milky Way also frowned. He also sneered. Who was there to refute? Could it be that what I said was wrong? Everyone in the second astral realm knew about this matter. No, my ass. Di Ling was powerful, but it was too early to say that he wanted to get you Shi Jie just based on this. Moreover, how much could the crew on the Milky Way know? These were just some of the most basic rumors. This time, everyone finally heard clearly where this voice came from. They turned their heads and saw a man in a black robe sitting there, looking at them with a cold and arrogant face. Hearing this, the man on the Milky Way was provoked. He snorted coldly. You dare to question my words? He stood up, his body emitting a powerful aura. However, the man in the black robe sneered. I advise you not to fight with me. Otherwise, you will die very miserably. There was a terrifying, killing intent between heaven and earth that swept out. Moreover, the man on the Milky Way instantly retreated, his face pale. In that instant, he felt like he was about to die. The other party was very strong and could even kill him instantly. Thinking of this, he didn't dare to stay here any longer. Instead, he muttered, "What bad luck." As he said that, he turned around and left as if he was running away. Hey, don't go. Tell me more about the second astral realm. The surrounding people shouted, but the other party seemed to be determined to leave. They had no choice. They sighed and looked to the other side. They discovered that at some point, the man in the black robe had also disappeared. They were just getting excited from listening, but they didn't expect him to stop talking. That's right. Other than the Rain Clan and Di Ling, who else was so powerful? Forget it. Let's not talk about the second astral realm. Let's talk about our first astral realm. Everyone, let's talk about how many people from our first astral realm can make a name for themselves in the second astral realm this time. As soon as these words were said, everyone became interested. This was indeed something worth discussing. Chapter 3561. It's hard to say. It depends on one's luck. But I feel that there are a few people who can do it. For example, Lin Wudi. With his strength and talent, he would definitely be able to do well in the second astral realm. Perhaps, just like Di Ling, he would once again make a name for himself. The pitiful 6 sects were forced to seal their mountains for 500 years because they went against Lin Wudi. Otherwise, if the geniuses of the 6 sects went there, they would have a great chance of rising up. Yes, that was a place one had to pass through on the ancient path. It was a pity that they couldn't go there now. Speaking of Lin Wudi, they had to talk about the 6 sections. Everyone was talking about it. Lin Xian listened from the side, his eyes shining. At this moment, another voice snorted. What Lin Wudi? Bullsh *T. He had only used tricks and schemes. If it was a head-on battle, how could he win against the 6 sects? Not to mention the 6 sects. Any one of the elites from the 6 sects could kill him. *CK, who is this? How dare he say such things? The surrounding people gasped. They didn't expect that someone would dare to slander Lin Wudi and speak up for the 6 sections. Did he want to die? Instantly, someone laughed coldly. Who was spouting nonsense there? Didn't he know that the 6 sects had sealed their mountains? That's right. If the 6 sects were so powerful, why would they be forced to seal their mountains? Speaking of which mountain did he come from? Don't tell me he didn't know about this. There are no more 6 sects now. Damn it, you're talking nonsense. A person roared and stood up abruptly. A powerful flame aura surged out of his body and engulfed the entire hull. "Damn it, you dare to attack us?" The others were also angry and turned their heads to look. They saw a pale man who looked like he was sick standing there. His eyes were burning, and the flames on his body kept jumping. He had a strong and terrifying aura. Those people also saw the pale man. Then they were puzzled. Who was this person? He looked unfamiliar. Immediately, someone sneered. "Do you dare to say that we're wrong? Who in the younger generation can go against Lin Moody?" Lin Moody was indeed strong, but he wasn't truly invincible. Moreover, he walked the path of the great emperor. It wasn't just the younger generation. He wanted to compete with everyone. Although he was strong now, it did not mean that he could survive forever. The pale-faced man's voice was ice-cold. It seemed that this person was not convinced by Lin Moody. Everyone was talking about it, and even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He had noticed this person before, and he felt that the other party's aura was extraordinary. He didn't expect the other party to say such words at this moment. "Hee, after saying so much, how is your own strength? Come out and fight if you have the ability." The Crimson Dragon jumped out. He would not allow anyone to speak ill of Lin Xian behind his back. "You!" The pale-faced man stared at the Crimson Dragon and sneered. "You're no match for me. Let him do it himself." As he spoke, he looked at Lin Xian. "Lin Moody, you are already here. Are you proud to hear so many people talking about you? Humph. I will personally teach you how to take off your head later. I will show these people that the legendary invincible Lin is not that great after all." What that person is Lin Moody. Everyone was in an uproar, and they all turned to look at Lin Xian. There were legends about Lin Xian in all the worlds, but not everyone had seen him before. Hence, everyone was shocked when they heard the news. Lin Moody was on the same boat as them, and he was sitting right beside them. That was too shocking, wasn't it? "That's right. I am the invincible Lin you were talking about." Lin Xian stood up and looked at the other party. "Are you sure you want to fight me?" "That's right. Not only am I going to fight you, but I will also kill you personally. Today is the day you die." Terrifying flames appeared on the pale-faced man's body, and they shot up into the sky. The entire space was completely distorted. Everyone felt the destructive power, and they frantically retreated. A look of shock appeared in their eyes. What a terrifying aura! What was up with this person's power? They were really shocked. This person looked very young, but the Tao of heaven and earth was unparalleled. It was beyond their knowledge. Could it be that he was a level 3 sage? They sucked in a breath of cold air. Was there a young person in the first astral realm who had reached level 3? That was unbelievable. One had to know that there had been level 3 sages in the past, such as Lei Qianzhong, but that was someone from the second astral realm, or even the celestial city. Now, there was a level 3 sage on the Milky Way, and he wanted to kill Lin Moody. Lin Xian also frowned. What a terrifying Tao of heaven and earth. Why did the aura of the flames feel so familiar? But at that moment, he really couldn't remember who it was. But he still said, "Since you want to fight, let's fight." Golden light appeared on his body, and the 9-yang divine body bloomed, making him look like a god of war. Buzz! The pale-faced man didn't say anything. He waved his hand, and endless flames condensed into a vermilion bird, which quickly flew over and engulfed the entire world. Everyone retreated in fear. The sages were all pushed far away, and their faces were filled with fear. Lin Xian's pupils shrank to the size of needles. Vermilion bird, divine fist. You're from the Vermilion Bird Palace. He finally understood what that familiar aura was. It was the aura of the vermilion bird's flames. Buzz! He quickly dodged, and at the same time he raised his hand and slapped out a blue stone tablet. It was completely formed by waves, and it directly suppressed the vermilion bird. Boom, boom, boom. The two roared, and the sky and earth cracked. The vermilion bird roared at the sky, and the blue stone tablet was sent flying. Then it looked down at Lin Xian from above. "Lin Wudy, you're just SO. Today you'll die." How terrifying. He could actually break Lin Wudy's attack. The people in the distance were shocked. Even the Crimson Dragon and the Northern Demon were shocked. Who was this person? "Kid, do you have a clue?" Lin Xian shook his head. The Vermilion Bird Palace's people were very strong, and their Tao was terrifying. He didn't seem like the younger generation. The most powerful person in the younger generation was Yan Nantian, but he was already killed. There was also the Vermilion Bird Holy Sun, who was not enough. But now the young man in front of him had obviously surpassed the Vermilion Bird Holy Sun and even Yan Nantian. Not to mention that even Lei Qianzhong probably couldn't compare to this person in front of him. Did the Vermilion Bird Palace really have such a powerful younger generation? If they did, how could they have fallen to such a state? "Kid, don't think about it. You'll never guess who I am. Just obediently accept your death." As he spoke, the flames on that person's body were incomparable. They turned into 4 vermilion bird phantoms and circled again. The 4 vermilion birds stood in 4 different directions and locked down the space around Lin Xian, sealing the space around him. "Vermilion Bird Divine Formation, burn for me." Chapter 3562. This was a terrifying ability that could burn everything in the world. A level 3 cultivator would definitely die inside, and it could even threaten a level 4 cultivator. Boom! Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. With a roar, sword chi surged, and the great destruction spear danced, breaking through the void. However, the 4 vermilion bird phantoms locked onto him, as if they really wanted to burn him to ashes. Terrifying flames wrapped around his divine body, and for a moment, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Lin Xian pushed his power, striking out with the 5 elements law. The terrifying sword of law, together with the great destruction spear, broke the 4 vermilion birds. Lin Xian charged out, extremely powerful. At this moment, the entire hall had collapsed, and the surrounding people had all left. Who dared to make a move on the Milky Way? On the Milky Way ship, the law enforcement team quickly flew over. They came with a powerful array to suppress the situation. Although the Milky Way ship was huge, it couldn't withstand the crazy attacks of the Saints, so fighting was not allowed on the ship. Now that someone dared to break their rules, they would not hesitate to kill him. "I didn't want to make a move, but someone wants my life." Lin Xian stood in the void and said coldly. On the other side, the pale-faced man sneered. 2 balls of flames appeared in his eyes. Then, 81 balls of flames appeared. They twisted in the air, forming an array that directly wrapped him and Lin Xian. The next moment, the void was torn apart. The 2 of them disappeared without a trace. Damn it, what happened? The Crimson Dragon roared, and the Northern Devil's face was cold as he stared at the people on the Milky Way ship. The law enforcement team frowned and snorted coldly. "It wasn't us, it was that pale-faced man. That should be a teleportation array." They had probably left the Milky Way ship. What? They left the Milky Way ship? The Crimson Dragon and the Northern Devil's faces became incomparably ugly, and the surrounding people were also shocked. They looked around, and sure enough, someone exclaimed, "Look outside." These saints' eyes flashed across the sky like lightning, and they saw that outside the Milky Way ship in the chaotic star sea, there were 2 more figures. It was Lin Xian and the pale-faced man. At this moment, the 2 of them were already fighting, and monstrous waves were stirred up in all directions. "Damn it, stop!" The Crimson Dragon roared. The people on the Milky Way said coldly, "Stop the ship? What a joke. That was impossible. Since that kid had already left, there was no possibility of him coming back. The 2 of you should accept your fate. Don't look for trouble. Otherwise, we will directly teleport you out. Damn it. Ben Huang will fight it out with you." The Crimson Dragon roared and wanted to attack. However, he was stopped by the North Demon. Don't get too excited. Believe in Lin Xian. He will definitely be fine. We will wait for him here. He would definitely come back. Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon gradually calmed down. He began to arrange an array formation, ready to help Lin Xian. On the other side, Lin Xian was wrapped in 81 flames and was brought out of the Milky Way to the outside of the scattered star sea. Damn it, how dare you bring me out? Don't you want to go to the Earth 2 star realm? Lin Xian asked coldly. The pale-faced man laughed wildly. The second star realm? I have no interest in that. My target has always been you. The reason I boarded the Milky Way was to kill you. Damn kid! How dare you make me lose so many disciples? I will definitely not let you go. As his voice fell, the pale-faced man's aura erupted again, and he directly reached the fourth heaven, the Sage Realm. Terrifying fire laws swept through the world, and the sea in the scattered star sea turned into a sea of fire. Fourth heaven, who exactly are you? Lin Xian asked coldly. Kid, I will let you die with a clear understanding. The pale-faced young man shouted coldly, and his face began to change. He gradually grew older, and finally turned into the face of a middle-aged man. When he saw this face, Lin Xian was stunned. This face was very familiar to him. It's you, the Vermilion Bird Palace Master. He really did not expect that the other party was the Vermilion Bird Palace Master. But this was impossible. Wasn't he killed in Vermilion Saint Town? How could he still be alive? He did not doubt the power of the Saint Slayer Palace. After that battle, he was sure that no one survived. At this time, Black Mountain said telepathically, the Vermilion Bird Palace Master should have cultivated the Vermilion Bird super technique. The Vermilion Bird and the Phoenix are related, so they should have some rebirth techniques. The Palace Master of the Vermilion Bird Palace must have used this kind of rebirth technique to survive and preserve his life. If I remember correctly, he should have been a fifth heaven sage. Now that he has been reborn, his cultivation has dropped by 2 heavens. Now that he is at the 4th heaven, he should have activated a secret technique and cannot maintain it for long. So that's how it is. Lin Xian understood, and then he laughed coldly. I didn't expect you to have such a rebirth technique. If you had obediently returned, you might have been able to keep your life. But you don't know what's good for you and you dare to kill me? You actually know. The Vermilion Bird Palace Master was stunned. He did know a rebirth technique. That day, he was killed by the Saint Slayer formation. Before he died, he activated a secret technique and turned into a Vermilion Birdstone. In the end, he survived. Later, he broke out of the Vermilion Birdstone, and his cultivation dropped by 2 heavens. Under normal circumstances, he would not be able to recover without 1 or 2,000 years. This price could be said to be very painful. But in order to kill the other party, he could not care less. Now that he had used a secret technique to raise his cultivation to the 4th heaven, he did not believe that the other party could still survive. Brat, without that formation, let's see what you have to fight me. The Vermilion Bird Palace Master waved his hand, and 9 Vermilion Bird divine feathers appeared in the air. Each one was like a peerless divine sword, emitting a terrifying light. If you had continued to hide your identity, I might have let you live a little longer. But now that your identity has been exposed, there is no need for me to let you live. Since that's the case, there's no need for me to keep you alive. I'll kill you today. Lin Xian did not waste any time and took out the Great Sage Tower. He did not want to waste time with the other party, because he still had to return to the Milky Way. The longer he delayed, the more danger he would be in. After all, a few days ago, he had seen the apocalyptic octopus appear nearby. If he encountered such an existence, there was no way he could escape. So after taking out the Great Sage Tower, he opened it, and the astral fire inside was activated. Do you really think that I don't have any tricks up my sleeve? Damn it! How could you still have that kind of flame? The Vermilion Bird Palace Master's expression changed instantly. The smugness and arrogance from before were completely gone, replaced by fear. How could he forget that flame? Previously, it was this flame that was used in conjunction with a peerless formation to completely destroy the 6 major sections. But at that time, he guessed that the other party would not have that kind of flame anymore. He did not expect that the other party would still have some in his hands. Chapter 3563. At this moment, the Vermilion Bird Palace Master was very decisive. He controlled the 9 vermilion bird divine feathers and quickly escaped. Previously, his confidence in himself was based on his absolute cultivation and strength. But Lin Xian's trump card was beyond his expectations. He didn't dare to fight against him. You want to leave? Do you think you can? Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a monstrous starry flame flew out. The Vermilion Bird Palace Master screamed. The 9 vermilion bird divine feathers formed a sword formation to block, while his main body fled crazily. Boom! Lin Xian used the Kuan Peng movement technique and quickly chased after the Vermilion Bird Palace Master. He attacked again, and the starry flame wrapped around the Vermilion Bird Palace Master. Damn it, get lost! The Vermilion Bird Palace Master screamed. He stretched out his palms, and 2 vermilion birds roared. But they were still burned. He was burned miserably by the starry flame. Damn, brat, if you have the ability, don't use flames. Fight me one-on-one. He screamed crazily. Are you out of your mind? Why are you saying such things? Lin Xian sneered. The other party had lived for nearly 3,000 years. How could he fight a person who was not even 100 years old? What a joke. He wasn't that stupid. Soon, the Vermilion Bird Palace Master couldn't resist at all and was completely burned to ashes by the starry flame. This time, Lin Xian attacked again with a dragon-shaped sword chi, and the Vermilion Bird Palace Master's ashes were cut into pieces, making it impossible for him to be reborn. After killing the Vermilion Bird Princess, Lin Xian returned and sealed the 9 vermilion bird divine feathers. Then he turned into a light sword and quickly shuttled through the chaotic star sea. He had to return to the Milky Way as soon as possible. The Milky Way, those people had already dispersed. They knew that even Lin Wuti wouldn't be able to survive after falling into the chaotic star sea. Many people sighed. Was Lin Wuti going to die like this? It was really surprising. The North Demon and Crimson Dragon were extremely anxious. Time passed slowly, and the Milky Way's speed was extremely fast. They were indeed not confident. But at this moment, they suddenly saw a stream of light flying over from afar. It's here, it's finally here. The Crimson Dragon was overjoyed. The Northern Goblin also heaved a sigh of relief. Everyone else also looked over. Heavens, he was actually still alive. How could he? Everyone was surprised. Had Lin Wuti already defeated his opponent? That was a saint of the 4th heaven. Not necessarily. It was possible that Lin Wuti had escaped. It was rumored that his movement technique was very powerful. Perhaps he could escape from the chaotic star sea. Only then could everyone accept this explanation. Otherwise, it would be too heaven-defying for a first celestial layer to kill a 4th celestial layer sage so easily in such a short time. They simply could not accept it. Damn it! Hurry up and activate the formation. The North Demon roared because Lin Xian had already arrived beside the Milky Way. However, the Milky Way did not seem to have activated its array formation. The Crimson Dragon roared. Damn it! Where is the law enforcement team? Don't play dead. A law enforcement team rushed over. Looking at the surrounding scene, their expressions were cold. They couldn't activate the formation for you. We're about to reach the death fog area. We can't take that risk. What? Fog of death? Everyone was shocked. It was rumored that even small saints couldn't survive in that area. Thinking of this, their faces were filled with fear. At the same time, they looked at Lin Wudi, who was outside the formation. No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he couldn't escape from the death fog area. If he couldn't board the ship now, he would probably die. Damn it. Since you know that it's the death fog in front, hurry up and activate the formation. The Crimson Dragon roared angrily. They were angry. That was the extremely terrifying death fog area in the legends. No matter how powerful Lin Xian was, they weren't confident in their hearts. Therefore, the two of them wanted to fight. The law enforcement team snorted coldly. Hee hee, how dare you fight with us? Believe it or not, we'll chase you two out too. Many experts and saints appeared around them. Each of them looked like they were facing a great enemy. Outside, Lin Xian saw the scene. Although he didn't know what the other party was talking about, he knew that there should be a conflict. It seemed that the other party was unwilling to activate the formation. Thinking of this, a hint of coldness appeared in his eyes. He directly shot out a starry sky flame, burning a hole in the formation in front of him. With a swoosh, he rushed in through the crack. Boom! The entire Milky Way let out a sharp roar. Everyone was alarmed. What happened? They were terrified. As for the law enforcement team, their faces changed drastically. Not good, the formation was broken. Their eyes were like rainbows as they looked into the distance. Lin Xian, who was outside the formation, had already entered, and there was a huge crack in the formation. Damn it, he actually broke the formation. How is this possible? These people were angry, but then they became terrified. Their formation was so powerful, but the other party could actually break it in an instant. What kind of method is that? They didn't know. Just as they were in a daze, Lin Xian had already arrived nearby. Kid, you're back. That's great. The Crimson Dragon heaved a sigh of relief. They came at the right time. After a while, I heard that the death mist will appear. We wanted to fight them to the death just now. Death fog! Lin Xian was stunned. Then his face darkened. That was really close. He was almost killed by the other party. He said it, but you still didn't repair it. Do you want everyone to be buried in the death fog? The law enforcement team's faces changed drastically. At the same time, the elders and formation masters on the Milky Way came out and began to repair the formation. Fortunately, it was only a crack, and the loss wasn't great. Moreover, the formation that defended against the death fog wasn't the one that Lin Xian destroyed, so there was no need to worry too much. Soon, the formation was repaired, and the seawater that poured in was all disposed of. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. However, the law enforcement team surrounded Lin Xian. Damn it, you actually dared to destroy our formation. Do you really think we won't dare to punish you? Sorry, the situation is urgent. I heard that the death fog is in front, so I have to keep it a secret. So I use some tricks. I can pay the boarding fee again. Of course, if you insist on killing me. I'm afraid I won't let you kill me so easily. Since I can destroy your formation once, I can destroy it a second time. By then, the Milky Way's formation will be completely destroyed, and it will be impossible to pass through the death fog. How dare you threaten us? The law enforcement team roared angrily. All right, this matter ends here. If you pay another 10,000 kilograms of divine crystals, this matter will be forgotten. However, if you dare to break the rules of the Milky Way next time, we will immediately expel you. The higher-ups of the Milky Way gave the order. The law enforcement team was unwilling, but there was nothing they could do. Next, the storm finally subsided. Everyone was shocked by Lin Wudi's strength. He didn't even put the Milky Way in his eyes. He was really arrogant. Of course, they all knew that Lin Xian should have the capital to be arrogant. Otherwise, the Milky Way wouldn't compromise. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.